right, good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Brian Collins, and I'm going to be teaching you guys about the 6 personal perspectives. This is a mindset class. This isn't a lot of, we're not calling leads, we're not lead generating or anything, which I feel like help promote getting people in here because a lot of people don't like calling leads. But this is something that Gary Keller used to start off every single training with, was the 6 personal perspectives, because you've got to be in the right mindset in order to do pretty much anything, whether it's you win with sellers, you win with buyers, and even when with buyers, I feel like we touched on a lot of these different things. But this is going to give us the opportunity to really dive into them really well and get them going. So, yeah. So if I could actually. Well, let's see. So I personally have never gone through this class before, so teaching it, I have read through this manual now about 6 times though. I felt like I needed to really dive in and know what I'm talking about a little bit here, and thankfully I feel like I was pretty on top of most of these things, a lot of these things that I've been doing over the last 5 years, and have had the opportunity to do. When it comes to some of these steps, there's some that I absolutely need to work on, and going through them, I've realized that I do need to, do that. So, let's see. What is it that differentiates those who achieve at the highest level from those who don't seem to accomplish as much? Basically, it came down to these 3 things, which was mindset, attitudes, and approach to life. If I could have one person read this mindset is key thing. Anybody want to volunteer to read that? Go ahead. Thank you.
Mindset is key. Gary has said, when you interview the very top people and ask them what their biggest challenge is, invariably they will tell you it is mindset. Keeping it strong, focused, and positive amid the many challenges they encounter every day on their way to the top. Gary continues, life is inside to the outside experience. When you get this at a deep level, you realize that who you are inside determines and drives what you are outside. The very best achievers know this and therefore truly work on and protect their mindset.
That's true. Yeah, that's great. And protecting that mindset is a lot what we're talking about here, is not just going through the motions, but we're looking at making sure that we have all of the tools. So we're going to define the 6. Everybody watch the video that I sent out? The TED Talk, the video? It was 4 minutes. Okay. So how did that make you feel? What did you get from that video? I mean, besides he was kind of a little bit humorous, but if your plane was going down, how do you feel like you would feel? Anybody realize anything from that, listening to that guy talk about his experience on that plane?
I didn't
You didn't see the video? Okay. All right. So, really, yeah, all right, well, then that's fine. So an individual's mindset holds the key to what they can accomplish, your attitudes and beliefs, your personal perspectives. Those are going to determine what your mindset is. So you can reach the highest level of achievement in business and in life by adopting these perspectives. And as we move through these perspectives, you'll notice how they build on and rely on each other, which is why it's so important to learn and master them all if you want to truly achieve at the highest level. So what we're going to do here is you can go and fill these in. So commit to self-mastery is step number 1. Step number 1. So this is like I'm going to nail it and I'm going to master this. That's what you should be saying to yourself here. Step 2 is commit to the 80-20 principle, and that's going to be, you're going to focus on your big rocks. And that may make sense to you if you've done this class before, or you've heard this analogy before, but for most of you, honestly, you may not have heard this. Step number 3 is move from E to P. The E is entrepreneurial, and the P is purposeful. This right here, this really demonstrates what that means. Your natural ability here on this, your natural ability is going to get you only so far. You eventually hit a ceiling where you can't go any further. And then that's typically where people go, well, I need to figure out something different, so now I'm going to look at these foundational models. And these personal perspectives are a foundational model, just like the win with buyers and the win with sellers next month. These are all foundational models that allow you, that you don't have to be creative with. You don't have to think about them. You just do them, and then you break through that ceiling, and then that takes you from, this is your entrepreneurial right here, this is your natural ability. That's you being entrepreneurial. That's your, just what you're born with, and your passion for doing what you're doing, and that's only going to get you so far, though. You eventually are going to need those models, these types of things that are going to help you get through there. So from E to P is you're being purposeful about breaking through your ceiling of achievement. And then step 4 is going to be being learning-based, the foundation of your action plan. This is saying I'm willing to be taught, and I always pursue learning. You being here today shows that you are willing to be taught and that you are pursuing learning. There's a lot of people here today that either can't be here or decided not to be here, and I feel like they must know everything then, because they're obviously our top performers, and they can't get anything from this class because they've already mastered all of these things. But I mean, we only have like a handful of cappers, so that's obviously not true. Number 5 here is removing your limiting beliefs. So I unlimit my thinking and my success. Ashley, there's a spot up here with a book, unless you just want a book back there, I can bring you one. Either way. And then step 6 is to be accountable. So it's yours, you own it. And that's your faults, that's your everything. That's be accountable for everything that you do. So let's get ready to dig in these perspectives and what's going to propel us on to success. Okay, so that video from Rick Elias, that was so he was on the front row of the U.S. Airways Miracle on Hudson Flight 1549. He said, I was given the gift of seeing into the future and then coming back and living differently. For the rest of so for the rest of the class, I want you to imagine that you have that same gift. You can see into the future, and you get to come back and live differently. That's what this is. So how would you change? What would you do that were different? What would you do that you're waiting to get done because you think that you will be here forever? Write 3 things down that you would like to accomplish in your life. This is kind of a bucket list. This doesn't necessarily need to be, climb Mount Everest, but maybe you want to, close some transactions. You want to, be more accountable to, your spouse, or, whatever. Just 3 things that you think that you would like to accomplish in your life. David, do you have a book? These are very important to these classes, so make sure you're following along and filling out all the things. So once you've written down, hopefully you've written down at least one thing, but what I'd like you to do is now read through those 3 things that you wrote down, or any of the amount of things that you wrote. You could have written 5, it doesn't matter. But pick the one thing that most resonates with you, the one big thing that you feel like is the most important of all the things that you wrote. Maybe you just wrote one thing because that was the only important thing, and that's great. You can just do that. But this is going to be the one goal that we're going to work with for this entire course. We're going to refer back to it, and this is going to be something that, we're going to help you create like an action plan for it. That's what we're going to work on. We'll refer and get back to the goal. Yeah, that's what I said. By the end of the class, you'll be able to walk out with a concrete set of tools and resources that you can put to use immediately. We've got a success list at 411, time blocking resources, a learning path, and accountability partners. So on the next page here, we're going to have you guys do, we're going to have you fill in these goals. Like, so what is your goal? Write your one goal in that top circle there. That's going to be, your starting point, what you want your goal to be. And then go ahead and fill these out. How do you feel like you're doing with that goal? If you've taken any steps, if you haven't started anything, write that. Be honest with yourself and just say how you feel or how you are doing with your goal. And then you continue on by how you feel about that. If your goal is to do 50 transactions and you've done 5, you're probably going to feel sad. And your feelings are totally validated, and it's totally okay to feel the way that you feel about being away from that goal that you want to set. You could be frustrated. I know I get frustrated with my goals too. And then the bottom ring here is, what will your future look like if you don't achieve that goal? So maybe those transactions are the financial freedom that you want to, make your dreams come true. So if you don't create those, if you don't hit that goal, like how is that going to impact your future? To anybody, how do you think that learning about and mastering these perspectives, how do you think that they can positively impact the one goal that you want to achieve? If you could go back to your 6 steps here, your self-mastery, 80-20 principle, moving to purposeful, being learning-based, removing your limiting beliefs, and being accountable. How do you feel like that those could positively impact your goal, your one goal? Anyone have an idea? They would probably help you succeed in achieving that goal if you were able to master the 6 personal perspectives with your one goal in mind. There's a book up here, or you can grab one from here. Deepak Chopra said that, imagine for a moment your own version of your perfect future. Now take a memory from that future and bring it here to the present. Let it influence how you will behave from this moment on. All right. So if you had any sort of, lightning bolt struck your brain while we were going through this first section here, definitely write them down. These aha moments are going to come in handy later on, because these are just going to be things, I didn't realize that there was, 6 things I should be looking at instead of 2 things, whatever your moment is that allows you, that's going to make you think that, this is going to be something good for me. All right, so high achievers understand any endeavor that they might choose to undertake. High achievers understand that any endeavor they choose to undertake is going to require them to master a certain number of things, including themselves. When you commit to achieving self-mastery, you know your goals, you know your strengths and weaknesses, and you know how to work with both to seek and master the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to reach your goals. So self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge and skills and the habits that you make the master of you. So the road to mastery of a chosen subject is the road of mastering the basics of self as it relates to the subject. So only when you have achieved self-mastery can you then develop and achieve mastery of a topic or a task of your choosing, because you know where you can best utilize your strengths and where you need to bolster your weaker areas. So the key factor to success lies in time on task over time, and a commitment to mastery will be an ongoing journey in your lives. You can hire coaches. There's 1,000 different types of coaches out there that can help you with almost every aspect of your life, whether it's personal, business, spiritual. I mean, there's a coach for everything out there. So when I was reading this, I was thinking, so if I read a book about karate and memorized all the moves from the book, and I attempted to recreate all of those moves perfectly right now in front of everybody on this camera, that would be funny. I would show how little self-mastery I had, because just because I know the moves and I know what I'm supposed to do, it doesn't mean that I'm ready to perform all of those moves to perfection. I would probably hurt myself and pull something and possibly break something. So that's what we're going to be doing with that. That's what self-mastery is. You have to know what your limitations are. I'm a strong guy, but I'm not very bendable. So doing a high kick right now is not going to work out for me. I could probably kick real hard, but it's going to be real low, and it's just not going to work out. So, so mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make one a master of a subject. It's a journey, not an event. So in the book Outliers, he claims that the key to mastery in any field is roughly 10,000 hours of practice. And according to his research, practice is more critical to success than ambition, intelligence, or natural talent. A commitment to true mastery will not be achieved by taking a class in the subject or even reading a few books about it, but rather repetitive practice. In other words, time on task over time. Repetition. So these can be difficult concepts to grasp. Let's walk through the putting pieces together. So we are going to look at these pieces. Let's see, the first piece of the puzzle is going to be the goal. So the goal in this would be like maybe mastering prospecting. I don't know if it says that in yours or not. I think it says. So that's going to be the goal. So the next step is to identify your strengths and weaknesses. So if you have a strength of maybe being good with people, and you have a weakness is being uncomfortable bringing up business, you don't want to talk to somebody about business even though you know this person, then you need to have a plan. So you practice your scripts. That's going to help you overcome those types of things. You can take bold. That's going to also really pound into you being able to talk with people. You can call your sphere of influence. Sometimes if you're more familiar with people, it allows you to be a little bit more free with your verbiage, your body. You can be a little bit more comfortable. So that would be your plan based on your strengths and weaknesses to achieve your goal. So we got role model video. So it's Bruce Hardy. He's the regional director. He is going to talk a little bit about self-mastery. Oh, I got it. That's what I did.
G'day, I'm Bruce Hardy, and I'm committing to self-mastery. This is one of the main 6 perspectives that I think we all need to focus on, particularly if we want to take our business and our lives to the highest level. When I was younger and lived in Australia, a good friend of mine was a black belt in karate. He invited me to participate in karate, so I joined. I was a white belt. And after about 6 weeks or so, we were one day practicing sparring. And it was interesting because we were throwing a punch, relatively simple, straightforward punch. We both knew how to do it. The idea was that you would throw the punch and you would stop 2 inches from the other person's face. So my friend, the black belt, would do it, and he would snap, his gi would snap, and I had wind hitting me in the face, and it was just beautiful the way he threw it. Then it was my turn, and I got down and I went whack, and I watched my friend fall to the floor because I hit him instead of stopping 2 inches in front of his face. We both knew how to do it. He'd mastered it, I had not. I will tell you, I brought the same approach to my real estate business. I realized my focus had to be on listings. And what I did was, by focusing on my listing presentation, practicing over and over and over again, I was able to list over 250 homes a year. There's a wonderful saying out there, and that is, amateurs practice to get it right, professionals practice to never get it wrong. My question to you, are you an amateur or are you a professional? Commit to self-mastery.
Well, I have to say, I've watched him say I'm Bruce Hardy about 700 times when I was putting these together, but I've never actually watched the whole video, so I feel like it's a little surprising to see that he used pretty much the exact same example. Apparently it's a common one, so that's fun. All right, so let's see. What are we at, slide 14? Yeah, so let's go ahead and do the exercise here. On page 13, you wrote down your goal. I want you to list 3 obstacles that you might think might hinder your success to your goal. If you want to, let's partner up and walk. Let's go through this with a partner. You should be going through this with a partner. Because what you're going to do, this is basically the idea, is that you're going to go through here and you're going to tell your partner your idea, what your goal is, and then kind of real quick together come up with some things. You're going to talk it out aloud. Because sometimes when you're looking at each other, or when you're thinking inside your head about what your goals are, it really, you are your own worst enemy. So you're not going to be able to really dig deep. Sometimes you need to say it out loud to hear something, and then it's like, oh, it's so clearly obvious what I need to do as soon as you say it out loud. So if you can, grab a partner, person next to you, behind you, in front of you, and then just look at what your goal is and any obstacle. Just think about the obstacles. What? All right. After you come up with your 3 obstacles, you're going to write down what your strengths are, what you feel like your strengths are to get toward your goal. And then number 3, there's 2 pages of this exercise. Then you're going to look at your weaknesses. Huh?
Is this a typo here where it says 2, 3, 4 instead of 1, 2, 3?
No, because the other one's, that's,
1, 2, 3.
no, that's,
Oh, I see. I got you.
yeah, that's 1. You have 3 obstacles. Make sure you continue on to page 23 and do the weaknesses. Discuss any obstacles, if they're immovable or movable obstacles. I did my command class yesterday, and while I was listening to the Gary Keller podcast that he's doing now, one of the things that he says is that you'll never make more than you're currently making if you don't do more than what you're currently doing. That's what this is. This is getting you to think about what you can be doing more so that you can make more, so you can be more. Thank you. Go ahead and work on this for another couple minutes. Money for, for the grandkids or whatever. But right now, like you're retired, you like spending time with your grandkids. So, do you think that you can come up with a why that's better than like why helping your daughter trumps traveling with your wife and that sort of thing. So I feel like that's something that you gotta dig deep and figure out. All right, and do you have what? I know you've been in real estate before. You have your license, so
Yeah.
you've sold houses. So I feel like strengths for you would be what? Like you have experience and like kind of what it entails.
Yeah, just that sometimes when you don't do it for so long, you forget the paperwork
Sure.
route.
Sure.
And I had to tell Stephanie,
The practice, yeah.
what do I do next?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still a newbie. Which
Yeah.
I am basically, but
Yeah, but that's okay. So weaknesses would be that would probably be a weakness, like just not knowing all of the minutia of the transaction that would help you along. Okay, so the step 4 says, are these obstacles movable? So definitely in Ruben's case, like these obstacles are movable. Like repetition is going to help you overcome most of the those types of things. Your motivation, that's definitely going to have to come from you, not from anybody on the outside. Helping your daughter, that's a good motivation, but coming out of retirement for that, whew, that's a tough one. So if anybody had any aha moments, any realizations about themselves and what they need to do to commit to self-mastery, if you can put those down on page 25. Obviously we're offering a lot of classes now, and it's kind of a big deal. So hopefully Your commitment to self-mastery will also include, showing up to classes and watching the command class. If you can't be here, watching the command classes online, because there are so many things. We're going to talk about more learning resources here inside this book, where like not just the things that are happening here, but things you can do on your own time. When you're at home, you want to work at night or whatever, like videos and different things that are available to you. So this is a really good one. This is the 80-20 principle, step 2. The 80-20 principle is discovered by an Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto, and popularized by Dr. Joseph Horan. Has been reproven over time, and reproven time and time again. So it states that 20% of our activities yield 80% of our results. Go ahead and real quick read this. On the other side, it says more results, fewer activities. Just you can read that to yourself. You don't need to read it out loud. What that exactly is. And this is from Millionaire Real Estate Investor. Let's see if I can do this. So we've got, let's see, this guy. So this is the 80-20 principle right here. 20% of your effort results in 80% of your results. All of this time here is going to be spent doing non-productive things. These are going to be things that make you feel like you're being productive. And you'll know what those are. Like, I'm going to watch this YouTube video on motivation. That's solidly in the 80% effort. That's good. It's good for you to do, but that's not what's going to result in your 20%. Your 20% is going to be your phone calls, your actual follow-up for leads, that kind of thing. So, let's watch excerpt from the Millionaire Real Estate. Yeah, there we go. We're going to watch Madison Offenhauser, the regional director and multiple Market Center OPs, talk about focusing his 20%, avoid burnout.
Hi, I'm Madison Offenhauser, and I am committed to the 80-20 principle. I can say that honestly, I'm committed to it now. I wasn't always. I remember back when I was a team leader, and I was going to also become an OP. Back then, I think I was a really expert list maker, and I thought I was good at prioritizing what was on that list, but I felt so incredibly torn trying to get all the things done in a day that were important to get done. The big rocks were mixed in with the small things, and I just found that that wasn't really working, to the point that I was about to give up my OP role. And I started to interview people through the RS process to replace myself. And in the process of that, oddly enough, just like before we go on vacation, I got my house in order, so to speak. I identified the big rocks that I really needed to get done. And in the process of doing that, I found that I was organizing myself really to the 80-20 principle. So once I realized that, I thought, you know what? I think I can actually continue to do both of these roles. And truly, it was the 80-20 principle. I started focusing on my big rocks first. Instead of having a big list where my big rocks were mixed in, I do them first now. Those are definitely done, because obviously, if I'm focusing on my 20%, my big rocks, 80% of the results are going to come from those 20. It has been life-changing for me, and my results are much greater. The other part of it is I found I became so much more time efficient that I actually am capable of handling more roles and accomplishing more things than I ever thought was possible before. And it's all because of the 80-20 principle. I truly am committed to it. Are you committed to the 80-20 principle?
All right. So as the figure illustrates, when we are focused on the 20%, we tend to get 80% of the results that we want. This principle isn't intuitive, and we feel like the more we do, the greater the results we should see. And this is the difference, though, of being busy and being productive. A former team leader here used to always talk about boondoggling, and I still to this day use it. I even have a folder on my computer called boondoggling. It's the things that make me feel like I'm being productive, but I know for a fact that they're not. So when I have to go into that folder on my computer, I have to be honest with myself and say, look, I know that I'm wasting my time here. Like, this is not what I should be. This is industry news. This is reading things that are not helping me actually 100%. They're not monetary, money-producing activities. But these are things that make me feel like I'm busy because I feel like I'm keeping up on my real estate business. But it's just boondoggling. It's doing things that make you feel like you're doing something. So this big rock story, it says you're supposed to read it silently, but I love this story so much, and it makes so much sense. I'm going to read it out loud so that we don't have to have volunteers. So this is what we keep talking about with these big rocks. The big rocks come first. A philosophy professor decided to teach his class a lesson on priorities, so he pulled out a jar and added as many big rocks as he could fit. He asked the students if it was full, and they agreed that it was. So the professor picked up a box of pebbles and poured them all in. He shook the jar lightly, and the pebbles, of course, rolled into the open areas between the rocks. Then he asked the students again if the jar was full. Fewer students agreed that it was this time. The professor picked up the box of sand and poured it in, and of course the sand filled up everything else. And when he asked the students again if it was full, he heard a few tentative yeses, but before he pulled out a watering can and proceeded to fill the jar to the brim. He looked out at the expectant faces. We can all finally agree that the jar is full, right? And the students nodded, wondering where he was going with this demonstration. So any of the other things, all of the students said no. So when he got to the big rocks, he exclaimed, "The big rocks must go in first. This jar is symbolic of your life, and everything here represents priority in your life. The big rocks represent the highest priorities in your life, your list of essential non-negotiables. The others represent smaller and less important priorities in your life. If you spend all of your time chasing the trivial things that don't matter, you will never achieve your highest priorities. So whatever your highest priorities are, make sure that you make adequate time and space in your life to accomplish them." For me personally, I feel like that's powerful. That's really huge, and that's a way that, with the first time I read through this, I was just like, well, what? That's crazy. Like I've never thought about it like that. Your list of your list of essential non-negotiables. Essential non-negotiables. What are those? Those are pursuit of happiness. Those are, taking care of your family. Those are all of these things. So whatever those goals are that directly achieve your list of essential non-negotiables, those should be your biggest priorities. And you should make sure that you get those things done first. And again, when I go back to like talking about boondoggling and you talk about, doing things that fill up your time that don't actually achieve anything, you have to think, are these things going to help me achieve the big things that I need to get done in the day? So that personally for me, it was such a big thing. I was just like, wow, this is crazy. I mean, if you take nothing else from this class at all today, like this step right here, taking care of your big rocks first, and we're going to talk about that pretty much the rest of the time because this whole entire thing is really about setting your focus on taking care of those big rocks. So your 21% of your effort is going to be your 80% of your results. So that's taking care of your big rocks. That's taking care of your major priorities, and that doesn't necessarily have to be a real estate. This is obvious. We're in a real estate building and we're all in the business and this is what we want to do. But I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that one of your big rocks is real estate related, But you have the tools, and we're going to hopefully talk about and give the tools to make sure that you're being able to plan for your big rocks first. Your 80-20. Let's see. What's going on? All right, so I think it's Haran, maybe? Haran and Pareto, they have proven in the real world the results, that things are never equal. So how does a successful person turn a to-do list into a success list? With so many things you can do, however you decide what matters most at any given moment on any given day. You do it by turning your to-do list into a successful list, or into a success list. So let's see. Yeah, so if we look at like, say, like a marathon runner, right? We've got a to-do list. So you have one thing here, and this is a should do. And then you've got number 2 here. This is a should do. And number 3, what do they call it here? It's a could do. So you have all these things wherever, and in number 2 are your should do's. And then your could do's can wait a little bit. These are your, I could read about, the real estate industry. I could look at, something, but what I should do is make the phone call and follow up from that lead yesterday and ask them for their business. What I should do is study the market and make sure that I know that in that area what the comps are going to be when they ask me. These are all should do. These are all things that you're going to want to prepare for. And that's what a success list is. That's the difference between a to-do list and a success list. These are success lists. A success list is just going to be the should do's, the things that are going to make you the most, productive. What Pareto stated, you've got to finish the 80-20 principle is the first word, but not the last word on success. You have to identify your 20% and then go even smaller, finding the vital few of the vital few. So much to do about nothing. This is an excerpt from The One Thing. Let's see. So while to-do lists serve as a useful collection of our best intentions, they also tyrannize us with trivial, unimportant stuff that we feel obligated to get done because it's on our list. So achievers operate differently. They have an eye for the essential. Left in its raw state as a simple inventory, a to-do list can easily lead you astray. The first thing on your list is just the first thing you thought of. To-do lists inherently lack the intent of success. Long hours spent checking off a to-do list and ending the day with a trash can full and a clear desk have nothing to do with success. Instead of a to-do list, you need a success list. And everything then is probably taking you everywhere but where you really want to go. So here's that marathon. Here we go. Run a marathon. You can work on a diet and a plan, work on hydration plan, select strength program, select running regimen, find a compatible running group. So under select a running regimen, let's see, select a running regimen. So this is the top priority. Select a running regimen is the top priority there. So in order to select a running regimen, you have to join upcoming 4K and 5Ks, practice on hills, time block training schedule, check equipment. But all these end up going down into coordinate with an experienced running partner or coach is going to be your main thing, the main takeaway. Because you know, for a runner, having a coach is probably going to be better than following any of these lists. So, so back to your goal from your page 13, your one goal. So are you working on your 20% every day? Write down your goal from page 13. List the tasks that you do or you could do to achieve the goal, either professional or personal, and then you know, just write as much as possible. So write down your goal again. You're going to write down your main goal, and then you're going to write down a to-do list. Make a list of as many things as you can think of that you either are doing or could be doing to make that goal a reality. Again, it doesn't matter if this is a personal goal or a professional goal. All right. So if you've had your to-do list, I don't know if you went through number 3 already, you're going to create a success list by circling the one thing or the tasks that are going to have the most impact of your goal. If you had more than one, to-do on your to-do list, then you should have at least one of those things is going to be more impactful than the other. So you're going to want to circle that one and move that down. That's going to be your success list. That's going to be your thing that you need to do. And then you have your, that's your 20%. If you wrote 5 things, maybe you just have a 1%, or your one item is going to be your success list. That's your 20%. That's going to give you your 80% results. Yeah. All right. So how many of you are familiar with 411? If you've heard that term before, I'm sure. Your 411? A 411 for in real estate? Not your not the number you dial for information.
That still works?
I guess if you have a landline, I'm sure.
Yeah, still works, and 211.
All right. So for those of you not familiar with 411, it's an action goal worksheet. It's a tool that you can use to stay focused on your 20%. It's a formatted guide. It's formatted to guide an individual through the goal setting for 1 year, 1 month, and 4 weeks. So 4-1-1, 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. And in the category, it categorizes the job, your business, your personal finance, and your personal life. So.
Can you say that one more time? Can you say it one more time what 411 is?
The 411 is it's a guide that helps you guide through 1 week, 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. And then there's 4 categories: job, business, personal finance, and personal life. So what you do to build an effective 411 checklist, you want to set a weekly goal that corresponds to a larger monthly goal. You set monthly goals that correspond to larger annual goals. And then you make sure that your weekly goals are a success list and not a to-do list. Number 4, you plan your weekly goals activities no more than 1 week in advance to allow for change in direction if needed. And you set your annual goals that can realistically be accomplished in a 12-month time period. And your 6th step is avoid revising goals set in prior weeks or months to reflect new goals or missed goals, for example. So this is a sample on right here, sample mega agent 411. So the annual goals, this is Mike the mega agent. For annual goals, his job is 24 listings sold, 18 buyer sales. He wants 60 quality listings and 150 listing appointments. So in his business, you can see here that he has 76 buyer sales, which is 18 plus 58 from buyer sales. 76, 18. Oh, 18 buyer sales. Yeah, okay. So, yeah. 24 listings sold, 2 new projects per month. He wants $750,000 in gross commission income, GCI, and he's going to net $200,000 in profit. That's what his business goal is. Then for his personal goals, he's got monitor his investments, for personal financial, and he wants to repay a loan. And his personal, he wants to read 1 to 2 books per month, lose 15 pounds, and complete a course in conversational Spanish. So those are the overall goals that he wants in a 12-month period. So then he's going to further break those down into monthly goals. So for his job, if he wants 24 listings to be sold, then obviously on a monthly basis, he's looking at 2 listings sold per month. You can see his number 2 corresponds directly with number 1 for his job. We got 5 listings, 2 listings sold, 2 buyers in escrow, 3 buyer contracts closed, 15 lead listing appointments, and then lead generate for 3 hours a day. That's what he wants his monthly goal to be for his job. And then business, he's got refine lead follow-up system with an admin assistant, 4 buyer specialist closings. Oh, I see what it is, because he's a mega agent, so he has a buyer specialist. Okay. So he's got his 18 buyer sales plus 58 from his buyer specialists. That's what that meant. I don't know why I couldn't figure that out. His second one, for the monthly, his monthly goals is to hire a new buyer specialist. He's got 60,000 in GCI, that's gross commission income, and then develop investor farm strategy, teach an Ignite class. His personal financial goals are to break down further to purchase investment properties and make a loan payment. So his annual goal is to repay the loan, so he's looking at making a loan payment of every single month in order to reach that goal. His personal, he's going to read Shift for the month. It says read 1 to 2 books a month, so reading Shift would definitely accomplish that goal. Go to the gym twice a week and research local colleges and training centers for Spanish courses, and submit applications. I feel like it'd probably just be like, use Rosetta Stone or something on a daily basis. And then you can further break down each one of these monthly goals by 4-week goals. So he knows every single week what he needs to accomplish in order to hit his monthly goals, and then he has that further same thing for every single month so he can reach his annual goals. So this tool is very, very, very useful. We have an online version of this that we'll get to so that you don't have to actually carry on a sheet of paper, but if you have your daily planner that you use anyways, like this piece of paper may be something that you want to do, and you can take you can take this page 30 and page 39 and just copy this thing all day long. This is a blank annual 411 goal worksheet that, you only need 12 of these for the year. And then you fill out one every single month, about the week before the month, so that way you can plan for the next month. But it also says not to plan for more your weeks, your weekly goals. So every week you'll want to fill this out every Sunday night or something, or Monday morning, or however you want to manage your week. But if you want to go ahead and I have blank ones, so we can actually, if you can run right on this one, that's fine. Yeah, this whole sheet. No, it's for 1 month. Because your annual goals, every month you're going to reevaluate your annual goals. At the beginning of January, you think, oh, my annual goals is going to be $100,000 in profit. Well, you start moving through your year, and eventually maybe you need 150 in profit instead of 100 to reach your goals. Your goals are going to be changing. So every week you're going to fill out the bottom one, but once a month you're going to fill out the top 2 portions. And then every week or every month you'll reevaluate your monthly goals and your annual goals. So if you can take a minute and just go ahead and fill this page out. Try and think of a couple of an annual goal for your job or your business, your personal finance or your personal, and then try and break that job down by month. What is your success list for that goal, for your annual goal on a monthly basis? And then what would be your 1 week, your first week? Let's just say, what's today, Wednesday? So by next Wednesday, you wanted to complete one of this weekly goals here. What would you have to do to complete your monthly goal? What part of that? You can use your goal from page 13. You can put that in any one of the categories. Write down what your monthly goal is. That will get you closer to your annual goal. Recently, I decided that I would like to not be quite so heavy. So I personally was having a struggle with, I don't have a lot of time in my day. I come here at 9 o'clock in the morning. I usually have my floor time. I have my meetings all day, and then my wife works in the evening, and I really wanted to go with my wife. That was one of my weaknesses, was I wanted to be able to go with a partner. And when it came down to it, I realized that she's going like 5 days a week with her friend every morning, and that was a motivational for me to go, maybe I should also help myself make this change. And I was like, I guess I'm going to have to start being a morning person, which I've never been. I've always worked overnights. I've just never been a person that woke up early. It's just never been a thing of mine. I always go to bed. Even last night I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning. But Now I have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I have to get to the gym in time that I can come home and shower and get ready for my work here. So for this whole entire week, every single day I wake up, I wake up at 6, I get ready, I go to the gym, I go back home. She's usually about ready to leave for the gym because she leaves at 8:15, so I'm usually pulling in right around at 8:15. So I kiss her and say, okay, well, I'll see you later. And then hopefully I get home from work before she has to leave for work. So that's been a big challenge for us because we do a lot of things together, and but it's something that we've committed to be better people in general, that we both need to go to the gym. And she had all of this. She had a friend that was going to be her gym buddy, and that's fantastic. But I feel like when my wife starts looking hotter and I'm still looking like this, I feel like I got to make some changes. I'd like to stay married, so. So that's that's my motivation. That's what I'm doing. That's one of my things that I'm working on right now. Is I set a goal to make sure I go to the gym at least 4 days a week, and so I'm day 3. I really didn't want to this morning, and I really didn't want to last night. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm only gonna be able to sleep for 5 hours. I'm going to bed at 1. It's like it's crazy, but hopefully tonight I'll get to bed a little bit earlier. Most likely not, because I just cannot seem to fall asleep before midnight. But these are all things that I have to work on. These are all things that are in my 411 for my personal life, to try to be in bed earlier. I try to plan out my week better for this class. I've been looking through this book for a week now because last time I waited until the day before and that wasn't enough time. So I did it for a week, and I feel like I'm pretty prepared now, and I have, pretty much everything that I need to use today. There was one slide that I didn't prepare that I had to do this morning. That was a bummer, but I did get it done on time. What's up, David?
So on the annual goals paragraph on job, is taken like job related, right?
Yeah, that'd be your job. You can use, your job is going to be your everyday, your transactions. That's going to be your job. Your business is going to be your overall goals, like your gross annual for the year. Bigger things like that. But yeah, so your job is going to be, maybe we want to close 10 transactions, for buyer side, or 10 for seller side, 20 altogether.
I think one of the biggest things that I have an issue with is that when I have a client and I have something going on, it's like focused completely on them
Mhm.
and not on what I need to stay focused on, like the database thing and all that.
Yeah.
So and on the
But ultimately, your client is making you the money. As your client is your business. So when you're focused on your client, you should be 100% focused on your client. If you have a buyer and you're in a buyer transaction, you should definitely not be completely so focused on that one buyer transaction that you've precluded lead generating outside of for your next deal, or following up with that sort of thing. It should definitely not be a completely blinders on. I'm only talking about this for the 30 days.
so that would be like the priority is
Right.
looking for a house for them. We got to find a house. So
Right.
I spend a couple hours looking at
Absolutely.
everything and try to find a house for them. And
Right.
Go back to my database and all that.
Right. You set your priority, saying, look, this person's going to make me money, so I need to find what they need to do. So, you're going to time block an hour and say, look, for this hour, I'm only going to focus on, finding a house, finding the perfect house, scouring the MLS, looking up for sell by owners, looking at Zillow, for God's sakes. Whatever you need to do to get the deal done, that's what you're going to do. But it's not going to be so much that you've, now going to spend the entire day doing it. But if you can focus for an hour doing that, you should be, you should be well on the way. Maybe you need an hour and a half, maybe you need 2 hours. Like, it's fine to do that, but you're just not doing it to the exclusion of everything else, except for during that hour. But you're not doing it for the whole entire day and saying, well, I really need to find this person a house, so I'm going to start looking at the MLS, and then I get kind of distracted, and then here's some YouTube videos, and then, I was supposed to go look at this house, and I wanted to look at these pictures, but then I fell down the wormhole of, Pinterest looking at pictures of houses, and, whatever the case is, like, you just have to say, okay, I'm going to look for these houses. We definitely cover time blocking in here for sure, because, I literally think it's the next page. Time blocking, managing your 2080. So chapter 15 of the One Thing, that's this little book right here. If you've never read this book right here, I highly recommend it. You can get the Audible book, you can get it on Amazon, you can talk to the team leader, and you might even be able to get one. That book is fantastic. And that's pretty much it. The one thing is a real mindset book. It's not a how-to. It's not like Millionaire Real Estate Agent where it gives you the blueprints, it gives you the plan, it tells you do this, do this, do this, do this. The one thing is a very introspectively like, these are the things that you could be doing and should be doing, and it covers a lot of the stuff that we're doing here. But let's see. So let's see, it's one thing to grasp a concept like the 80-20 principle, it's another to apply it. Time blocking is a tool that brings this perspective to life and produces tangible results. I think it's a bold law that says if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. Myself, my wife, and our kids, we all share a calendar. We have a shared calendar that's a family calendar. We encourage them to put all of their things on there, whether it's homework, whether it's baseball practice, whether it's, doesn't matter, put the things that are important to them on the calendar so that we know about it. Because sometimes kids are, terrible communicators and they don't tell you that things are coming up. Birthday parties, you want to have a sleepover, like let's put it on the calendar. Me and my wife have a calendar that we share together that's just the two of us or whatever, and it includes everything that's going on. My calendar looks very, very crazy. I mean, my calendar from 6 in the morning now until probably 9 o'clock at night is usually booked completely solid. That's me being purposeful about my calendar and using the time blocking, which for me is very important because I'm a scatterbrain, man. Like I cannot focus on so many different things. I will at any time in my desk, if I don't have something specifically on my calendar, like I will be sitting at my desk and I'll have 5 different internet tabs open, all doing different things. Like, oh, I was going to input this listing, so let me start inputting the listing over here, but it's not going to be going up until tomorrow, so I don't really need to finish it today. I'm just getting most of the busy work done. And then, oh, that reminds me, I needed to look at the video that I put on YouTube. Did I put the end screen on there for the people that are watching it? So I start doing that, and then I realize, oh, I didn't create a thumbnail, so let me open up my program over here to do this, and then I'm, oh, well, I forgot about my listing, and then, oh, I forgot I'm supposed to be taking pictures today at 4 o'clock for my listing. Did I bring my lights and it's just, it will go on like that, and I will just scatterbrain myself until I feel like, well, I've been working all day long as hard as I possibly can, but I got nothing done. I mean, just nothing. Not one thing got accomplished that whole entire day. It's terrible. But I know that if I have my calendar and I say, okay, this is the time that I'm going to do these things, I'll make a half an hour for me just to play on YouTube. It drives my wife crazy, but I like playing on YouTube. It's a lot of fun for me, and I feel like it also is expanding my referral network. So that's time, that's income to me, and as a referral agent, and I use that time. I have to block that time to say that this is what I'm going to do. It's in my calendar today to input the listing. I also have that listing pictures today at 4 o'clock. That's a real thing that's going on. It's on my calendar. My wife needs to take a shot today. So at 1:30, right at the end of this class has to end on time because I have other commitments at 1:30 that I need to do. I also have an appraisal today at 1, but I couldn't make it to my appraisal because that starts before my class is done, and I'm obviously here teaching this class, and that's a priority. So I'll get to the appraisal after I get done giving my wife her shot, and then I'll go out to the appraisal, and then I'll drive out to Apple Valley and I'll take pictures, and then I'm going to input the listing tonight at 6 o'clock. Like, it's just what I got to do, and I know that I got to do these things, but I have to put it on my calendar. And then my wife can look at it and say, oh, so we're not seeing you today. It's like, no, hopefully I'll be home for dinner, make something easy, whatever the case may be. I like to do all the cooking, so, it's like, if I'm not going to be there for dinner, it's like, I'm sorry, I have to leave this up to you. But, but this is what time blocking is. It's making sure that you are, you're putting your big rocks first, You're making sure that you have all of your important things on your calendar first. And then again, I've literally been listening through this Gary Keller podcast. They're very short podcasts, so they're very easy. I can listen to 3 of them while I work out in the morning. And there's only 5 or 15, there's only like 15 of them right now. And it's kind of like the MREA. I've read that book probably 5 times. Every single time it's a little bit different. And you pick up on something new. And the same thing with this podcast. Like sometimes I'll zone out and I won't hear whole minutes of things that are going on. And then I'll go and re-listen to the same episode again. I'm going, wow, that was crazy. But one of the things that he was talking about was when he started out, he would sit down at the beginning of the year And just like in really any job, when you're asking for vacation time, he would plan out all of his vacations. Here's my spring break. I'm going to block that on my calendar. Here's my 3-day weekends I'm going to take. Here's my vacations I'm going to take with my family. Whatever the case may be, those are the things that were the most important to him. So those were the things that he had to put on his calendar first. That's exactly what everybody should be doing. And I do the same thing now. I do the same thing. I make sure that my calendar is full as soon as I know. Me and my wife sit down every single month and we go, what's coming up? What's the important things? Because I know on the 15th of the month before, we usually do it around the 10th of the month before, like I have to choose my UpDesk schedule. And so I'm trying to pick the 2 days a week that I'm going to be here at UpDesk. I typically like Mondays and Thursdays. Those are the best days for me. Those are the ones that I don't have the most going on, that I can commit to that. But sometimes on Mondays, that's something that I've already got on my calendar for something else. Maybe it's a baseball game my kids got on Friday, or whatever. Like, we're going to be out of town. We've got a birthday party we're going to, or my parents are going to be in town. My wife's parents are going to be in town. Normally I would choose a Monday and a Thursday. So for March, I couldn't choose Monday the 2nd or whatever it is, because we're going to be gone that day. So I knew that we were going to be gone because we had this on our calendar, so I knew not to choose that day for UpDesk. So the same thing applies with almost everything else. My wife looks at the calendar and says, oh, what day can we go do this? And it's like, well, here's a free spot. Here's an hour and a half that I've got free that we can do that on. And it's like, if there's something that can be moved, I can possibly move it. But I want to address something earlier. This is something that I really do a lot, and I got a lot of stuff to say on it. So let's see what we got here. What is this? Nope. That's not the right. Yeah. Do you guys have these on your page too?
It's on your note.
Oh, sure you do. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that these weren't on there. Yeah. So that was a fun lesson there in wasting time. One of the things that I really wanted to do was compare my manual to your manual to make sure that I knew what was on your manual and what was on my manual and what the differences were. That was the one thing that I did not run. I ran out of time for. So here we are. So you can have you have your little graphic here. Disproportionate time. If disproportionate results come from one activity, then you must give that one activity disproportionate time. And unfortunately, most individuals in a typical day look something like the one on the left. When they find themselves with less and less time to focus on what matters most, the most productive people's day is like the one on the right. It's dramatically different. You focus half your time on your one thing, and then you have half the time for everything else. In a typical day, you've got a little bit of time for your one thing, and you fill up your rest of your time with everything else. That's your sand and your pebbles. But the one on the right, your productive day, that's going to be your big rocks. That's filling up your time with all of your important things. So let's review. Let's see, the 4 keys to success. Successful time blocking. So we can be consistent enough to set the habit. So this is going to be blocking an hour each week to review your annual and monthly goals. It's an hour each week, to review your goals. It's something that and again, time blocking, I feel like I have to go back to saying this, like, you don't want to lie to yourself. Like, don't go in. I remember the first time I went through these things or whatever, I would go through and man, my calendar was full of stuff that I was going to do. I had 3 hours every single day of lead generation. I mean, I don't think in 1 month I even did 3 hours of lead generation, much less every single day. But I was like, I'm going to time block it. You know what I did that time? I sat there and I did all the things that I felt like were productive lead generation, like playing on Facebook and, looking at Instagram and liking people's photos because I was doing it for the good of, social media, and I was making all the progress. And no, I wasn't doing anything. I was just boondoggle. I was just filling my time with useless tasks that made me feel like I was doing something productive. And that's what it was. And I'd do that for 3 hours, and I'd be like, whew, man, that was tough work all day. I worked so hard today. And I'd go home and tell my wife, oh yeah, I worked so hard today. I did 3 hours of solid lead generating. She's like, oh, that's great. Okay, great. Did you get anything from it? It's like, well, I mean, no, I'm just nurturing all this stuff. It'll come though. It'll come. Don't worry about it. I feel like I closed 4 deals my first year doing that. It was a waste of time. I made less than $17,000. I don't know if you've ever tried to feed your family on $17,000, but you can't even do that a month nowadays. So it was a big lesson. And then, the next year I got a little bit better at it, and the next year I got a little bit better at it, and this year is going to be my best year yet. So I'm not worried about that. But anyways, so block an hour each week to review your annual and monthly goals. Number 2, you can be thoughtful and purposeful about the items you list on your calendar. You can use your 411 to ask yourself what needs to happen that month and be on track for your annual goals, and then ask what needs to happen that week to hit your monthly goals. Always time block for your big rocks, your 20% that ensure your success and the success of your business. So we're going to time block early in the day and block big chunks of it, no less than 4 hours. Again, that's for your lead generation, and that's getting all of the big things out of the way that you need to do. Waiting until later on, but I mean, if you're not a morning person, you're not start your day very early. For me, my big goal right now is to be a more fit person. I'd like to live long enough to see my children graduate. That would be a real nice thing to do. So I want to make sure that I do that, and if I need to spend an hour a day, an hour and a half a day to do the gym or whatever, then these are the things I got to do. I got a time block in the morning, so from 6 o'clock when I wake up until I get home at 8:30. And then I have a half an hour to get ready and get here. I live very close, so it doesn't take me that long to shower and get over here. So I don't have to worry about a big commute or anything. But I do spend that time to make sure that I'm not just going to the gym and walking on the treadmill for an hour on like one and just like, oh, there's my workout. Like, that's not going to do anything for me. So I have to make sure that I'm challenging myself. And eventually I'm going to have to meet with a trainer because I don't really know what I'm doing. So I have to meet with somebody to tell me what the heck's going on. I'm going to need a coach because I don't know what to do. I go through all the things. I'm like, I like that one. I like that one. I like this machine, and this machine looks good. All right, cool. This one does the front of the arms, and this one does the back of the arms. Well, that's whole arms. All right, cool. But I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I'm doing as much. I just do it till it hurts, and then I wait, and I do it till it hurts, and then I just wait, and that's what I'm doing. That's the entrepreneurial going to do it or whatever. But eventually, that's going to do nothing for me because I'll eventually just do it till it hurts, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not getting anywhere. So I'll need to move from entrepreneurial to purposeful, and then find a coach to tell me, hey, these are the things that you should be doing so you can achieve your goals. So, but that's also going to come from time blocking and making sure that I do these things. Where are we at? Oh yeah. So time blocking. Okay, so if you erase, you must replace. So sometimes interruptions are real, and they need to be done now, and you have to drop what you're doing. And in that case, you immediately reschedule your time. It's fine to move things. This says erase because it's probably like a little paper thing or whatever. But for me, it's like, okay, if I have to get this stuff done, maybe a transaction that already closed, I'm missing some paperwork, and I got to get some signatures done. But this is the time that I'm inputting my listing that's coming up for tomorrow. I'm not just going to say, well, I'm just not going to put this listing in right now. I'm going to move it a half an hour, or I'm going to figure out another time slot that works so that I can still get this task done because something is very immediate and something, has that. Some things are just going to take immediate priority, So, yeah. Oh, yeah, right here, bold law. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. That's what I tell my wife, and that's what I tell my kids, right here it's on page 41. You also see some of these people, you'll see like Jeanette, if you ever walk down by Jeanette's office, she'll always have a sign that says, lead generating, do not disturb. That's her time blocking. That's her, letting you know that, look, I'm focused on doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, I feel like if Jeanette's actually time block is actually doing those things, then she probably won't answer her door, but if you knock, she might answer. All right, so let's see, where are we at here? 33. So time block your 20%. So if you've recorded your goal on your 411 and you know what needs to happen during the month and the week, but what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? So let's time block a sample day for your 20% activities that need to be done in order to accomplish your goal. So you refer to your goal. If you have your phones out, go ahead and look at your calendar, and or if you have a daily planner, whichever one you're more comfortable using. So starting with a day next week, time block what a typical day looks like if you were to achieve your goal for that week. What is your 20%? If you're going to get in at 9 o'clock and your goal is to find motivation. So for helping your daughter out. So what is going to be the 20% of what is going to be your 20% that's going to help you achieve that goal? Maybe she needs you to take buyers out or something. You'd have a time block for 2 hours of buyer showings, or whatever it is that you need to do. Look at your goals and try and time block on this paper, in your calendar, on your mobile device. Go ahead and block it up. Do you want a book? There's lots of seats up here. Yeah. Yeah. Just pick a day next week that you want to start. Pick a day tomorrow. Tomorrow's a great day to start. Why put off till next week what you can do tomorrow? I'm sure that that's not the right thing. I think it's why put off tomorrow what you can do today, but we're busy today. We've already time blocked until 1:30. Anytime after 1:30, though, feel free to block all you want. Oh, just to let you know, there are going to be, sorry, your snack reminded me, there are going to be snacks afterwards. I got PRMG to bring over some food. So I don't know if actually we should take a little bit of a break beforehand. Maybe, did I work in a break here? Oh, yeah, break. We actually have a break coming up here in a minute. It's fine. You can eat your snack. It's fine. I'm not trying to call you out on your snack. I'm just saying that we are going to take a break. Your crinkling is interrupting the... No, I'm just kidding. She's like, I'm out.
I teach this all day. Now I feel like it's...
Yeah, there you go. No, you're fine. You're fine. We're all adults here. I wish I had a snack. I'm saying that because I've been up for a really long time already, and I'm hungry now.
I just ate some stuff.
Don't talk to me about your hunger. So when you completed, updating your calendars, was there anything that made you question your ability to actually get it done? You said, oh, I'm going to time block this. Did you have a little doubt there? Did you feel uneasy when you finished your calendar? Like, ooh, am I going to be able to do this? So it's completely natural to feel that way, and that's why protecting your time block is as important as the time blocking itself. Again, the one thing really goes into a lot more detail about protecting it. I wrote down something from the book, and it says the best way to protect your time block is to adopt the mindset that they can't be moved. If someone tries to double book you for that time, you say, I'm sorry, I already have an appointment for that time. Let's find something that works better. And then you offer other options. The world doesn't know your purpose and your priorities and isn't responsible for them. You are. I want everybody real quick, read this one more time with me. The world doesn't know your purpose and your priorities and is not responsible for them. You are. People say, oh, well, there's all this stuff happen. It's like, oh, okay. Like, did you protect your time block? I make appointments with a lot of people to meet me in my office so we can go over command and go over all the things they do. And I would say probably more than 70% of them call me within 4 hours of the appointment and say, oh, I'm sorry, something came up. I go, okay. What came up? What was it that happened? I meet with a buyer. Okay, well, did you tell them you already had an appointment? Because you're inconveniencing me just as much as they would be inconvenienced by moving to a different time because you didn't have an appointment with them beforehand. You made the appointment with them after you made my appointment. So now I have to reschedule my day, and who knows what my day looks like 3-4 days from now. Like I said, I time block all the time, and I make sure that I keep hours available for people to meet with me. And if those people don't meet with me in those hours, I mean, I don't know when. I mean, it can get frustrating when people cancel on you because you're like, man, I based my whole entire week on this meeting today. I made sure I moved all the things that were happening that weren't as important as, you know, my big rocks, getting listing appointments and transactions and all that stuff. You were a big rock, so I moved the pebbles out of the way for your thing. So you just want to make sure that you are aware that it is your responsibility to block your time and to protect your time. Your time is valuable. You're worth more than, you know, these little things that come up. You want to protect your time. All right, so we're going to build a bunker. Find somewhere to work that takes you out of the path of disruption and interruption. My bunker is my office, kind of, now. Going, oh, can you help me? Can you help me? You know, and it's great. And they're distractions. Yeah, exactly. I feel like they'll just come in, and sometimes people just want to say hi, and that's fantastic. But I know that I'm an easily distractible person. You know, I'm a ooh, sparkly. Okay, cool. Let's go over here, and let's, you know, have that person say hi. I haven't talked to them a little bit, or, you know, whatever. Oh, I was supposed to follow up with that person. I just remembered. Like, that's a distraction I don't need, so I have to close my blinds, and I have to close everything down so that I know that I'm there. I used to work from home. That was my big thing. I was like, I got this. I can work from home. Like, I'm just sitting in my office. I have a big desk and a big computer, and it's beautiful. And, you know, it's in my bedroom, so it's not like part of the house. But, you know, when my wife works in the evenings most of the time, and so she's home during the day. And then she would come in. She's like, hey, are you busy? And I was like, I mean, you know, I'm just, you know, lead generating, you know, whatever. And then she, okay, well, I'm going to run to Costco. You want to come with me? Yeah, I do. Let's go. And that was it. I'd be at Costco. And then I'd spend the day at Costco. And we'd eating samples and, you know, spending all the money. And then, you know, it was like, oh, well, I also need to stop by the mall for a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, great. I don't have anything else going on. And then that was it. That was the end of my day. I would sit there for an hour, hour and a half, and then that was it, the end of my day. She's a distraction for me. I can't be around my wife and try to work. I just can't. I love her to death, but I want to spend more time with her than I want to work. So that's my weakness. She is my weakness. I have to make sure that I am not around her if I want to get my work done. So I come to my office, and I made the choice last year to get an office. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And, you know, it was a huge boost in productivity. It doubled my sales easily. It was amazing. Just because I could focus more. I went from like 9 transactions to almost 20. So it was great. But now I have to figure out, I have to move my bunker. I have to reorganize my bunker, so to speak, to protect my time, because now I have different obstacles and I have different distractions. Have supplies, snacks, beverages on hand to avoid leaving your bunker for any reason other than going to the bathroom. I did the same thing. I bought a refrigerator so I could keep some snacks in it. I have a drawer with snacks in it because I would find myself like, well, I'll just go wander and go over here and do this, but can't do it. Sweep for minds. You turn off your phone, shut down your email, exit your internet browser. Whew, that's a hard one. Important work deserves 100% of your attention. So if you have minds to sweep, you can put all these things down here on your paper. You know, any kind of distraction, anything that's going to keep you from it. I will have, I mean, look, when you were doing our business, a lot of our stuff is online. We have our command system, which is online. So you have to keep an internet browser if you're going to work in command. But I'll have to just remind myself, I put a sticky note. Like, we're not working on anything else. We're not opening up any tabs. We're not doing anything. I do have my phone on Do Not Disturb so that I don't get calls or emails unless it's a repeat call or email, because I might need to talk to my lender about a buyer situation. But I feel like if it's not that, he always texts me and, you know, they always get, you know, updates and stuff like that. But if it's not that important, like it can wait for an hour for me to finish my job, for me to finish what my job needs to be. Tell those most likely to seek you, so enlist support. Tell those most likely to seek you out what you're doing and when you'll be available. They will be accommodating when they see the big picture and know when they can access you. Again, keeping the time block on your calendar. If you share your calendar with important people in your life, then they'll know, hey, this is what time I have available to you. And you have to plan those personal days out. If you're gonna, I feel like with this whole new schedule that I've been keeping the last month, I feel like I've spent very little time with my wife in any sort of meaningful way. We normally go to Disneyland or we'll go do whatever. We did go down on Monday. We went to LA, so that was a lot of fun. We haven't done that in a little bit, so hopefully next weekend we're going to be staying at the beach for a couple of days. So that'll be fun. We haven't done that in a year, so but that's an important thing. So I'm definitely not working, and I'm definitely figuring out all of the things that I needed to do. I've already rearranged everything that I had, because I was like, we're going to make this time work, and we're going to do this, and so that's what we did. Any ahas? Anything that came to mind? Big rocks? Yeah, you got a bunch?
Everything.
Yeah, everything's an aha?
Just in general, like you say, oh, Costco, sure.
Yeah. Distractions.
Yeah, I have a job which I'm switching out to do real estate.
Mhm.
And I don't know, things that get spoken back. It's just like once you set your goals, like people, and I have a very job that's very stable, which is teaching.
Mhm.
And I'm going into real estate. And I decided just not to share it with anyone because everybody always has an opinion, whether it's pro or con.
Yeah.
And then I'm the kind of person that I'm just a thinker. I just analyze everything and my brain
Mhm.
starts going like at 100 miles per hour. I'm just like, I stopped sharing things and I committed to goals and where I see myself, not where others want to see me.
Mhm.
So,
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah, and especially being a teacher, I mean, that's a very structured, rigid, hey, you show up at this time, you have this class from this time to this time, everything's planned out for you, and then you have your probably your after school hours where you have to plan the next day or, whatever. So I feel like, and this can be very chaotic because this is all on you and there's no curriculum to follow, really.
Yes,
Yeah.
like my time blocks and things like that. Like how
Mhm.
I'm in charge of my time, no longer my boss.
Sure. You the boss.
Same thing.
Mhm.
When you go to a job and you clock in and you go in there and you gotta get numbers and you gotta do what you do, you'll do it for 2 hours straight, no matter how hot it is, no matter how tired you are, no matter how sore you are, you'll do what you have to do to keep that job.
Mhm.
And yet, when you're your own boss, you're a little bit more,
Yeah.
sure, I'll take a break.
Yeah.
You know? So it is hard. It is
Mhm.
hard, but that time, the aha is do it. That I like what all this says right here.
Mhm.
It makes a lot of sense.
Got to get it done.
The biggest thing for me transitioning is like it's funny how hard you're willing to work for other people to see your hard work, but it's not when it all benefits you like that.
Right. You're getting paid the same no matter what you do. However hard you work, it's fine. But especially in this career, like if you buckle down and do it, I mean, you could be a millionaire. You could be a millionaire next year. What? Who's keeping you from being a millionaire? Yeah, you are. You're the only reason that you're not a millionaire next year. That's my goal this year. Is I'm like, I want to be a millionaire next year. We're trying to buy a house and do all these things, and I'm just like, my wife, she said, well, the prices are going up, and we're not going to be able to afford it. I'm like, we're going to be able to afford whatever house we want next year because we're going to be a millionaire next year. And that's what I've told myself every single day for the last month. And I feel like just being able to say that to myself, just telling myself that, every single day I'm just like, why aren't I going to be a millionaire next year? I can't even think of a reason why I'm not going to be a millionaire next year. So that's what we're working on. Ahas. We're going to go through one more thing, and then we're going to take a break. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so if you have all this time in your day, time blocked, how do you make sure that everything happens? Right? How do you make sure that everything happens? You get purposeful about it. And this is a lot of fun. So, again, I kind of use this breaking through the higher achievement. You have your natural achievement ceiling. Your natural ability is only going to take you so far. And then once you hit that ceiling, you have to, once you hit that ceiling or whatever, that's when you start looking at your foundational models. Like when I first started real estate, I was like, look, I'm good with people. I can talk to people and I went through all the classes or whatever, and I used them at a very low level. Like I was like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to talk to them about this, and this is how I negotiate a deal, and these are the terms that I have to learn, and these are the contracts that I have to know, and then I can use my negotiation skills based on the contracts that I know and what I think is in the best interest of my client, and move through those things or whatever. And in my first year, I feel like my first year I closed 4 transactions. And then I was like, okay, so then I went through and I did I don't remember what class it was. I think it was maybe it was goals. Oh, it was Ignite. It was Ignite. We used to do Ignite a lot differently, and when Ignite starts, hopefully in May, when Ignite starts back up, wherever, we're going to do it the right way, and they just revised Ignite, so it's going to be a really big deal, and hopefully everybody will be there. So, but I went through Ignite, and they kind of talked about goal setting and time blocking, so I was like, okay, I'll take those things. I used to live on a calendar when I had a day job, and that was fine and no big deal. But then, I would take some of those tools, and that helped me get to my next level, which was set a goal that was more than what I wanted. So I was like, okay, well, I just want to double my transactions. So I did 4 transactions. I definitely wanted to close 8. That's my goal. And they said, well, you want to do more than that. So I was like, okay, I definitely want to close 10 then. And I could close 10 the next year. So that was really well. And I used those little bits of tools or whatever. And every year I've taken these little classes and done all those things. And so this year I was like, man, I'm getting serious. I'm going to be a millionaire next year. So I'm going to teach every single one of these classes. I'm going to study every single one of these classes, because what's the easiest way to learn something? Teach it to everybody else. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I have to look at this book, and I'm not very good at it yet, but next year when I'm a millionaire and I don't have to look at this book anymore, because I'm going to teach this class another 3 more times, before next year. I want to teach all of these classes at least 3 times a year, win with sellers, win with buyers, and 6 personal perspectives, and then Ignite, trying to do that twice a year. So that's my goal, and I'm going to become a master out of these things. And next year I'm going to be a millionaire. That's what I want. And hopefully, maybe one of you guys will take my place, and then you guys can teach it to everybody else, and then you can be the millionaires. Anyway, so you're purposeful. That's moving from purposeful. I decided I made my goal. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start teaching classes so that I can learn everything, and that's what I'm doing. So I moved it from entrepreneurial, just my basic skills, to purposeful, learning about everything, learning that I can do. So, oops, 38, we're still here. So change doesn't happen by accident. In order to change or overcome a situation, such as not having enough time for friends or family, or not being able to overcome a certain level of production, you must be purposeful about your actions. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think I said that last time. I'm pretty sure we brought that up in Win with Buyers. Like if you're comfortable, then you're not growing. You have to be uncomfortable to grow. It's just a fact. If you're comfortable, that's it. You're comfortable. You're stagnant. You are not moving. That's what comfortable means. Have you ever hit one of these ceilings? Are you hitting one right now? Like, what are some of the tasks that you can avoid performing? What are some tasks you avoid performing because they make you uncomfortable? So for me, definitely phone calls. I don't like talking to people on the phone. I have no problem meeting someone in person. Like, this doesn't bother me at all. I would talk to every single one of you for 4 hours. Like, when we go with Win with Sellers, we're doing it all in one day, 8 hours. I'm going to stand up here, and I'm going to talk for 8 hours. I mean, we're going to be doing a lot of other things in between. But I feel like it doesn't make me uncomfortable at all. YouTube used to make me uncomfortable. Being on videos, I would be really weird about it or whatever. But now I feel like I've done those enough now it doesn't even bother me. But still, to this day, picking up a phone, which, I mean, I've been picking up a phone since I was like 4, right? Like, everybody has a phone. Everybody still has a phone. Everybody's had a phone. But for some reason, calling people on the phone, I don't like talking on the phone. I would rather drive 6 hours and talk to my parents in person than pick up the phone and talk to them on the phone. I don't know why. It drives me crazy. But that's something that makes me uncomfortable, and especially when I'm talking to other people that I don't know very well, family members, obviously. I'll pick up the phone and call my family members. But picking up the phone and calling a stranger or someone I've only talked to once or twice or whatever, it makes me uncomfortable. But I know that I've got to do it now. And that's one of my goals. One of my weaknesses is picking up the phone. So that's what I'm working on right now. Is picking up the phone, generating leads. I really love this. The little drawing down on the note section. It says where the magic happens, and then your comfort zone. I feel like that is absolutely the truth. Your comfort zone is always going to be outside of that. We got, let's see. So we committed to self-mastery. So you know how to work with your strengths and your weaknesses to master your task or topic or to achieve your goals. You're going to use the 80-20 principle. So you've pinpointed your one thing and harness the tools that you need to help you time block. So now we're going to get purposeful, move from entrepreneurial to purposeful. High achievers are always looking for the purposeful way. By doing this, they overcome the ceiling of their natural. They overcome They overcome the ceiling to their natural ability. So we're going to watch the role model video, which is Brenda Benson. She's a regional director. She talks about getting purposeful and breaking through her ceiling of achievement. And then we will move on.
Hi, I'm Brenda Benson, and I've experienced moving from E to P, entrepreneurial to purposeful. And I want to share a personal story with you about how that happened in my own career. As I entered the real estate field, I began to lead generate. And in my lead generation process, I just kind of winged it. That's what I call E. I was not purposeful. I lead generated when it was convenient. I lead generated when I was around familiar faces. I lead generated when I was in a familiar environment. And guess what? My results reflected the haphazardness of that lead generation. When I became purposeful, my results showed that purposefulness. As I looked to pick up the phone and make those calls, and I blocked time for my lead generation, my appointments went up. When my appointments went up, my actual results reflected those appointments. So I know in my own life, just through lead generating and knowing when I was in E versus when I was in P, that my results were different when I became a purposeful lead generator. And I know that can happen for you. So let me share with you 5 quick concepts that really helped me move from E to P. Number 1, focus. Focus on that 20%. Number 2, create strategies and action items that will support you staying in that focused 20%. Number 3, follow the model. The next item would be to install and implement the systems. Implement systems that support the model. And finally, number 5, be accountable. Make sure that you're tracking and you're looking at, as I was, the entrepreneurial piece versus the purposeful piece. So if you are willing to embrace these 5 quick concepts that I just shared with you, your world can change just like mine has. Are you willing to move from entrepreneurial to purposeful?
Yeah, so I mean, it's funny. Number 5 is actually step 6 in the 6 personal perspectives, being accountable. So by the time you finish the 6 personal perspectives, when you're going through this list, this 5 steps to getting purposeful on yours, you have your focus, find strategic options, find models to follow, and you're going to have most of these already done by the time we get done with this class, because we're walking through these goals, and we're going to focus, we're going to refine strategic options, we're going to give you the models to follow. We have all the systems here. When with buyers, if you were there, I feel like that's a system. That's a system that you can follow. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to try and come up with something crazy. You just follow step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. If you become purposeful about following those models, you're going to do good. So Rick Elias, he was the guy from the video that most of you should have watched beforehand. The catalyst that moved him from entrepreneurial to purposeful was his plane crash. Yeah, so I feel like that was his catalyst. That was what made him go from, oh, I'm just gonna live my life and see what comes at me or whatever, to being like, man, I'm gonna focus on my big rocks. I'm gonna put time blocks in, and I'm going to, focus on my family and know what's important to me. But thankfully, you don't have to go through a plane crash to do that. Like, we have all of this stuff that we can talk about and we can figure it out here without actually putting you in a life-threatening situation. So that's always good. So let's just real quick, I'm gonna go over these 5 steps kind of a quick, like she did. Focus, you wanna write your goals and you wanna focus on your 20%. So this is where your 411 comes in. Write your goals down. I have goals, if you go under my wall, I have goals written on my wall. I don't just think them in my head, I don't just put them in my calendar, I have to look at them every single day. I have one of these little plaques where my wife got me from Hobby Lobby. She thought it was funny. But honestly, I look at it every single day, and it says, dreams don't work unless you do. Like, I was just like, whoa, I mean, that's funny, and kind of like, haha, you're being lazy, don't be doing all that stuff that, now that I can't keep an eye on you, let's, make sure you're doing all your stuff. But I look at it every single day, and it's like, man, it's right. She got it as a gift, but I feel like I look at it every single day, and it's my motivation. It's like, I can't send my whole entire family to Disneyland if I don't work, if I don't do the things that I'm supposed to do. So when I feel like I'm kind of trailing off and doing those things, or I have to double check myself, and I look around my wall and I look at all the goals that I've written on my sticky notes, and I have things on my computer, and I have daily reminders that pop up in my reminders tasks, and I have them everywhere because I have to keep focused. So I keep focused, and now my job is to narrow down and try and find that 20% and make sure that I'm working on that 20% always. I'm putting those time blocks in there. But those are my strategic options. How can this be done? How can I hit my 40, 50 transaction goal this year? That's what I want, is I want 50 goals, or I want 50 transactions. That's not gonna make me a millionaire this year, but maybe next year. Every goal, every transaction that I do, that's more referrals that I get from past clients, that's more opportunities to lead generate in a way that I feel comfortable lead generating, because it's not picking up phone calls and making phone calls with strangers. I'd rather receive a phone call from a friend that says, hey, I got someone who wants to do business with you. Great, thanks, love it. So I'm working on my strategic options. The models, go through, all of these things are available right now to you. Even if you've never been through Win with Sellers or Win with Buyers, if you've never gone through the class, like all the materials, the books are available to you on Connect. You can just search for the classes and you can download the books yourself and you can go through them. You can be purposeful in seeking out the knowledge that you need. So attend training, teaching where you want to go. You identify mentors or people who have done it. There are a lot of people in this office that you can look up to. I know, Donna, you work with Jeanette. She is a wealth of knowledge, and she's a great person too. So it's really easy she was the person that got me almost everything started in this. She was my go-to person, man. Like, if it wasn't for Jeanette, I would not be standing here today. I would probably be back at my old job hating life, because I hated that job so much. And Jeanette was there for me and was able, and I used that, and I used it selfishly, but also I helped her out when she needed help too. So I was able to give and get at the same time. Find someone in the office. I feel like Marlene and David, they've signed up for the mentorship program. I'm their mentor. So I like seeing them in my classes. It makes me feel good. And when they come to me and they talk about their transactions, man, it just fires me up. Like, man, I gotta make sure I beat out my mentors or my mentees, and I'm not doing less business than those guys are. But so find someone that if you want, if you just want that, even if it's just to sit down for an hour a month, just like, hey, I just want to talk to you, just want to pick your brain. I feel like Stephanie Angel, she's fantastic at that. I sit down with her probably twice a month just to, how's it going? Like, what are you doing? Here's what I'm doing. I don't know if this is working. We just talk about it. It's like, we don't have any sort of relationship or anything. It's just like, we just talk about the business and just see what's going on. And sometimes I give her ideas, sometimes she gives me ideas. Find someone who can be that person for you. Install the systems. Start using your time block. Use your calendar. Create checklists. Create success lists. And you always want to test the system to make sure they work. Look, there's been times when I've tried using other tools or whatever, and I just couldn't get in the habit of using it. It was cumbersome. It was whatever the case may be. I've had to modify those things. I keep a written calendar on my desk, and I'm trying really, really hard to be a paper calendar type person because they're very easy to look at. My phone, I have to, bring the phone up and look at the week and see what's going on and swipe and all this stuff. But my desk calendar, it just sits there, and I have it open to the week, and I could just look at it. But my challenge is that I forget to write things down because I immediately write something into my calendar. I'll do that 17 times a day, it's fine. But that's when I'm out and about. But I don't ever update it. So when I'm looking at my desk calendar, I'm like, oh yeah, well I don't have anything going on today. And then all of a sudden I start getting alarms from my other calendar because I didn't match them up. So I'm trying to be diligent about updating them both so that way I have at a glance, I have my time blocking available. So bringing accountability, that's partner, it could be your neighbor right here, it could be someone in the office, it could be a team leader, it could be me, it could be you, whoever. Your accountability partner should never be you because you will never hold yourself accountable to the level that you need to be held accountable to. And it doesn't mean you're going to be that person's going to be yelling at you. It's just going to be like, hey, you said you're going to write down your goals once a week. Did you have your piece of paper where you wrote down all your goals? Let me just look at them real quick just so I can see you did it. Okay, great. And that's it. It's just somebody that you can go, that you say, hey, I did the thing that I said I was going to do to help me toward my goal. You're going to make sure that you're just double checking that. So we're going to go ahead and take a break here. That's step 4, and then we'll be back in 30 minutes. And it is exactly noon. Man, I couldn't have timed that out any better. I was thinking, I should be done by about noon for here. Here we go. Here we go. Woo. All right. Just one more. Two more. All right. Well, we're going to get started anyways. So, you don't need to. There's a picture right in your little manual right there. Yeah, you got them all. So as we learned in step 3, the move from E to P, training, education are a big part of moving forward to attain your goals and succeed at a high rate. There's always room to grow, and you will never know it all. So you must continue to learn. That's another reason why I'm shocked that there's not 70 people in this class instead of 20 or 15. But everybody's got their own stuff. So knowledge for the sake of doing is essential for you to become an enlightened and productive person. So if someone isn't learning based, what are they? Is there anybody that's currently reading something? Reading books? What are you reading? The Millionaire Real Estate, MREA. Anybody else reading anything right now currently? It doesn't have to be one of these books, but yeah, 6 Steps to 7 Figures. As one of the, it's not, that one's not listed here, but that one is really good. Pat Hibben is a Keller Williams agent, and man, that book is fantastic. I feel like that was easy to read like in 3 days, and then I just reread it again because it was so easy to read. I mean, normally it takes me about a week and a half to read most books, so I feel like that one I was like, I got to read this one twice to make sure I got it all. But that is a fantastic book. Pick that one up if you can. What were you? What? It's called Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. It's good. There's another book that I read. It's called Fanatical Prospecting, and it's just all about being, a fanatic about, lead generating, because that's where all your business comes from, is your lead generation. So. Huh? This is called 6 Steps to 7 Figures. It's got a foreword by Gary Keller, and it's by Pat Hibben. Hibben? I just say Hibben. I don't know. Hiban. But that's a really good one. It's more storytelling, and he's got a lot of really great tips on how to move your business up. You're fine. I was just scared. I was waiting. She was leaving. I love you, Leticia. So let's see. Okay, so you're all learning based. Like, I can tell that because of everything we just shared, and because you're here today. So I'm very proud that you're here, and I'm very happy that you're here, and hopefully we'll see you in more classes, because it doesn't matter how many times you've read Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Every single time you read it, you're going to pick up something different. Like I said, I've read the book at least 4 or 5 times, and every single time there's something new that stands out that didn't before, because once you've done certain things and you've incorporated certain things into your life, like those ahas become your everyday tasks, and then the new ahas are going to be things that like, oh, geez, I never even thought to incorporate that part. And it's like, I've already read that. I've read that word at least 6 times now, but it's never snapped to me. It's never, become part of my, or it's never, been a big thing for me because I wasn't in that moment yet. So that's why I'm going to teach these classes forever, because it's just, they're really great, and every single time I read through these things, I'm going to find something new and something that I can take away with it, and I'll be able to share a new experience that could, help another person do something else. So, being learning based, a learning based individual is an individual who has made the decision. There he is. And decision to use effective learning as the foundational piece for their action plan to develop their life. So, knowing for doing sake. What that basically is like, knowing for doing sakes, you have trivial pursuits leads to nowhere. Knowing for learning's sake, if you're ignorance based, you're just knowing for knowing sake. It's just, I compare that to like an internet troll. Like, yeah, all right, you know a lot of things, because you've memorized a lot of facts. But memorizing a lot of facts doesn't make you an expert in those things. Just because you've memorized all of the facts and you can spew them ad nauseum to anybody who cares to listen or some people who don't care to listen, that's knowing for knowing's sake. That's just knowing to know. So you can say, I know everything there is to do about that. But then you have knowing for doing's sake, which is, that's learning based. You're knowing it, you know things, you're absorbing knowledge so that you can actually go out there and do it. And that's going to, boost your productivity and your enlightenment. That's going to help you feel more confident on the inside so that you can do more things on the outside. Yeah. So we have 4 levels of competency. I have you fill in the missing words in between each of these little bubbles here. You're going to see the knowledge, wisdom, has, but those are all missing from your thing. So sometimes you have bad habits in the unconscious competence level. If you do, you have to take yourself back to the conscious competent level to relearn new habits. In the book Talent is Overrated, Jeff Calvin argues that the absolute mastery requires staying put in the conscious competence level to continually refine what you're doing and how you're doing it. So the 4 levels of competency, you start this process at level 1, which is the unconscious incompetence. It's level you don't know what you don't know. So if you've never driven a car, you have no idea how complicated it can be. You don't know the basic rules. You don't know that the person on your left has the right of way or whatever. If you've never driven a car, why are you looking at? I mean, if you're at an intersection, the person on the left, if you're going to make a left-hand turn, whatever. And you don't know that they don't have the right of way. You don't know what situation I'm in my head right now. But so at the step 2, if you acquire some knowledge, you move to level 2, which is conscious incompetence. And these sound really, really judgy, but I mean, they really are pretty accurate here. At level 2, you know what you don't know. So for example, once you start to drive, you might figure out that parallel parking can be a challenge. Step 3 is if you apply the wisdom in your knowledge, you'll move to level 3, which is conscious competence. And you'll be proficient at parallel parking, even though you have to focus on each step. And then over time, with additional practice, your competence becomes a habit, and then you move to level 4, which is unconscious competence. At this level, you could readily parallel park while you're singing along to the radio. You don't have to think about anything. So you want to attain unconscious competence in your 20% tasks to unlimit your success. Unlimit, I really like that word. You've done it so many times that you're on autopilot. When I do my listings, I've talked about this kind of before. I have a list of things that I do on my listings. It's my system, which is now generally based on all the other systems that I know for as far as Keller Williams, going through the listing presentation, being prepared, all the steps that I need to take the day of, the day before, the week before, the day after, all the steps that I have to do or whatever. I know all of my steps now by heart. I've done them enough and I've memorized them to the point where I don't have to really think about it. I just know that as soon as my listing goes live in the MLS, my next step is to build a landing page so that I can build a Facebook ad so that I can do that. I just know that that's what I'm going to do. I don't have to think about it. It's not like, oh, geez, well, let's do. Hold on, let me look at my list. That's all I'm doing. But right now I'm building my buyer system so that I know exactly what I'm doing. Because all I want my systems to do is I want to be able to take my systems, print it out, and give it to the next person in line and say, here, just do everything that I've already set out here in this. I don't want you to have to think about it. You don't have to do anything but follow the list step by step. And then you're going to repeat the exact same success that I had, and then I'm going to be able to step back and move away from being actively involved in it, and then my income becomes passive. So that's what I want to do, and I want that unconscious competence, for that listing. But I don't have that yet for buyers. I still have to kind of think about what I want to do, be purposeful about every step of everything that I do with buyers, because I don't have a written system yet. I've been winging it. I've been entrepreneurial with my buyers. I'm like, yeah, all right, we'll go out and look at houses. All right, we'll write you a contract. I'm very good at writing contracts. That's not something I have to work on, but taking all of those steps from like win with buyers and going through a buyer consultation and sitting down with them in person. I've never really thought to do that before. Like, oh, maybe I should bring them in and sit with them and talk with them for an hour. I'd talk with them over the phone, and I'd fill out the lead form. That's I've done for a real long time. But I've never sat down with them and talked to them in person about it. I usually say, oh, I'll take you to a couple houses, and then we'll kind of talk about those things as we go. But, you know, they end up talking about other things. I forget to talk about those things that are important to them, and I don't take as good notes as I want, you know. So I want to make sure that I'm very conscious about all of those things so that I can have that unconscious competence. So, yeah, so you have your knowledge comes between unconscious and conscious incompetence, and then you have your wisdom between conscious incompetence and conscious competence, and then it's a habit to move from 3 to 4. So I don't really want to say those words anymore because those are complicated words to say all in a row, and it's a tongue twister. And now I just ate and I'm sleepy, and you know, it's fine. Let's see. So knowledge for the sake of doing is essential for reaching your goals. Staying learning base is about achieving mastery, not just a cursory understanding. It's really great to know the general outline of the things that you're going to do, but I mean, you have to keep doing them to the point where you don't have to think about them, and you know, you want to master every single step of them, because just knowing a few of the steps, again, that kind of moves here. As you move up this level here, you have your natural ability, you use the foundational models. Let me just bring this over here. Oh, there's no lip here. I thought there was a lip. All right, anyways, so I'll just bring this right here. So you move through your foundational models, and then this is where this is kind of your step 2, was that your conscious incompetence. Like, you start using some of the models, or whatever, and that helps you break through your natural ceiling ability. But then again, you end up reaching another ceiling, your new achievement ceiling. So then you have to go to improved models, which typically, honestly, your improved models are the same models. You're just going through them again and picking up new things out of those same models. So this is, you know, going win with buyers, then you come back here, go through win with buyers again, or maybe you go through Ignite or whatever, and then boom, you'll break through that ceiling, and you just keep repeating that process until you have mastered everything. And once you've mastered everything, I mean, that's your ceiling right there. And then you start moving through the 7 levels. Once you've achieved all of that and you cannot physically do any more, then you bring people on to take things off your plate so that you can continue to move on. So that's what we've been talking about. I'll hang that up later. It's fine. So high achievers, they reach their goals by making training, education, and self-development the foundational pieces of their action plan. You know, you got to go to training. People who go to Bold. Bold's coming up in March. Yep, March 23rd, I think. The first day's free. You know, go down, sign up, go down and see what it's about. It's an investment in yourself, and it's a 6 weeks, 6 weeks or 8 weeks? I think it's 6 weeks of just intense business like focus. That's all it is. You're going to be lead generating. You're going to touch, like, people who go to Bold, they double and triple their business. Like Bold agents, and then you're supposed to go to it 10 times before they can consider you a Bold master. You're supposed to go to Bold 10 times, which seems like a lot, but one of the things that they always talk about is that Bold is like a fire hose. Like, if you're trying to drink out of a fire hose, like, they give you so much knowledge and information that there's no way that you can get it all in the first time. Like, you're taking little sips off of this just crazy intense class, and then that's going to help build your business. And you take it again, and you're able to take in more, and that sort of thing. So Bold's a really great one to do. Let's look at Georgia Alpizar, Regional Director. She shares her ahas about being learning-based and how important they are.
Hi, I'm Georgia Alpizar, Regional Director of the North Florida region. I made learning-based the foundation for my action plan from the time I started with Keller Williams in 1999. I quickly learned that Keller Williams was a training and coaching company that happened to sell real estate. I was amazed at all of the training available to help agents go from having a sales job to teaching them how to run a real estate business and develop into leaders. As a former team leader in Plano, Texas, I took every opportunity to attend agent training classes and leadership classes. I then brought that information back to our market center and used this to teach our agents. I know that being learning-based and continuing to attend the KWU and regional training events resulted in my leadership opportunities in Keller Williams as a team leader and now in my OP, regional director, and master faculty roles. Being learning-based provides you the opportunity to use the 80-20 model effectively to master what you need to do to stay in your 20%. It is the key for moving from E to P, as you need to learn new models and systems to break through your current ceiling and you continue to reach new ceilings. How do you break through limiting beliefs without learning what it will take to get you out of that fixed mindset and move you into unlimited thinking? Learning-based is being accountable to the learned activities you need to do to grow your business and not go into victim mode. All of this takes you to mastery, the mastery of you to have unlimited opportunities in Keller Williams. Make learning-based the foundation of your action plan for unlimited success. I did.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Microphone was off. Cool. So the agent training curriculum available to you has something for agents at all levels of production, and it offers an easy way for you to stay learning based. Like Ignite is great for people who have 0 to 16 transactions. I think it even lists here what those classes are good for, right? Yeah, so annual unit production from 0 to 16 units, the agent curriculum, this is time management and Ignite. Those are the two best classes for you. And then if you have 16 to 36 units a year, lead generation 36-12-3, win with buyers and win with sellers are the best. And then you have the over 36 units is what the MREA curriculum, the leverage series is, and like grow your profit share, well, all levels, grow your profit share tree, wealth building, and quantum leap. Those are all basically for everybody. So if there's some classes you haven't taken or some you'd like to take again, they can help you accomplish the 3 goals you set for yourself early in this course. So maybe this is something you want to put down on your 411 sheet, that you want to take one of these classes, or you want to be, you want to go through one of these things. So in addition to the Keller Williams University courses, there are many other resources which you can supplement your learning no matter your level of production. We have the Millionaire Real Estate Series, which includes the MREA, that includes the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book, Shift. We have Shift is also one of them. There is the Flip and Hold books. So they're kind of like the 6 Steps to 7 Figures. They're written by other authors, or whatever, by Gary Keller. They're printed under Keller Publishing. So it's how to flip houses and then how to hold homes, if that's something that you're interested in doing. Those are pretty decent. Shift also has a commercial book. So if your goal is to get into commercial or whatever, there's going to be a lot of stuff in there about the commercial side. Then you have the One Thing, which again is it's more of a mindset book, and it's a really fantastic book. I have, if anybody's interested, I have an extra copy of Millionaire Real Estate Investor, and I have another Shift book as well. So if anybody's interested in that.
You have to have a commercial one?
I don't have the Shift commercial book, no. Okay, so other online resources that we've got. Oh, so here's all the books. Look at that. One Thing, there we go. So the other things that we have here, KW Maps coaching, you can use, you can sign up for that. Basically, it's a coaching session. There's group calls that you can be on. They help you, hold you accountable to your goals. But it can be a one-on-one thing, but those are more money. These are things that you're going to pay for. KW Connect is something you do not pay for, or at least it's already included in the fees that you're currently paying anyways. But KW Connect is going to be a fantastic resource for you to find anything that you need to find. There's every single day they're putting out new videos. Agents from all over the country, they can upload their own videos. So you can learn from anywhere from just a 2 or 3 minute video on how to do something in Command to a huge overview, a 2-hour course on taking listings and doing the best listing presentation you could do. All of these things are available to you. It's like the YouTube for Keller Williams that you can log in and use. We were talking about the new app video, the commercial, it's like a 1.5-minute video that Keller Williams put out. If you go on to Connect, you can actually download that video. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to try and bootleg it off of YouTube or anything. Keller Williams is going to give it to you. You download it, and then you can use that in your social media posts, and you add it to your post just like you would a normal picture. And then when you share that or whatever, then you have the new commercial that's playing that's all super fun and everything. But it's available to you for free on KW Connect. The manuals for these trainings, if you don't want your paper copy, you want a PDF copy for your future reference that you can look over and read on your own time. You just search for the name of the course, and you can go to course materials and download the student book, and it's great. It's available to you. It's perfect. Doesn't cost anything, and it's just free. There are, there's so much there. Every single week, the leadership will meet, and it's called Latest in Labs or Latest in Tech or Latest in something. There's a bunch of latest in, and every single week they make a new video about what's going on. So if you're struggling to keep up with all the news that's happening with Keller Williams or whatever, and you want to be informed, just watch that video. They go through everything, and they vary from 15 minutes to an hour. And you can just sit there and you can watch at your own time exactly what's going on in the company. That's available to you. We have different events that go on. That's not even a slide. There's different events that go on. Obviously, we have family reunion. That just happened. It happens every February. Next year is going to be in Vegas. So hopefully we're going to have a lot of people there because it's going to be great. I feel like book your hotel rooms now. It's over Super Bowl weekend. It should be fun. No, it starts on the Super Bowl Sunday, and then it goes for 3 days after that. It's February 7th through the 10th. So, hopefully we're going to get a lot of people there so we have a lot of representation. It'd be nice. Other than the Vegas regions, we are the closest one to family reunion. Like our market center is directly between everybody in LA and all the down the hill ones. We're that buffer. Other than the Vegas agents, we're going to be the closest California Keller Williams there. So hopefully we're going to have a lot of people there. Even if can't go to family reunion itself, I feel like hopefully we'll be able to just get a bunch of people out there. There's a lot of after parties that don't cost anything, and we can just hang out and and show the Victor Valley, show that we're Victor Valley strong, or whatever. So Mega Camp is in August, and that's well, honestly, I really don't know what Mega Camp actually is for. I know that it's high producing individuals, that it's real leadership based, but other than that, hopefully this year I'm going to go. That's my plan, is I want to try and go to Mega Camp this year, and then family reunion next year. So, and then there's different mastermind groups that you can be a part of, and man, there's so many things online now with Connect and Inside Command. Also, if you have the Kelly app, which I don't have it on me. If you open up the Kelly app and just scroll all the way to the very bottom, there's a carousel of videos. All the videos that I'm talking about, all the newest uploaded videos, they're right there in Kelly. You don't even have to go search for them in Connect. They just show up right at the bottom of your app, and you can look at the latest in labs to see exactly what's going on. You can see the latest in leadership and know exactly what's going on with Keller Williams. They're available to you. They push it right to your phone. So definitely check those out and look at those. Yep, that's the Kelly app. It's the teal Keller Williams app. We have the white one now, and then we have a teal one. The red one is slowly going away. The Kelly app? Yeah. The red Keller Williams app is the one that they're phasing out with the new white. It's a red KW versus a white KW. Yeah, the white KW is the new one. Okay, so this exercise that we are going to do, we're going to help plan your learning path. So I'm going to have you share your goal with your partner. And again, because I feel like I said this earlier, stating a goal out loud really reinforces that goal. It creates energy and a sense of accountability around that goal, and it's much more powerful than if you keep it locked in your head and nobody else knows about it. So you're going to turn to your neighbor and you're going to share with them. You're going to be consciously incompetent. What don't you know? You're going to look back. You can look back at 61 to 71 and look at the courses, the books, or other resources that you have not tapped into yet, and choose at least 3 that you intend to learn from that you think are going to help you achieve your goal, your one goal. And then, we want you to commit to learning. Make a commitment to yourself. Time block for the next class. If you're not sure what class we're at, I'll give you a date right now and I'll make it work. We'll make the next class work, however you want to do. But you can either, well, you can't register in Connect. We don't have registration there. But yeah, I want you to think strategically. You can also, invite other people, other agents that maybe you've worked with that you feel like could help you in that goal. You want to add to your team some great agent you worked with. You can put down here that you want to, invite them to one of these classes. These are not just for you guys. If you know of an agent who you think could help, even if it's just a long-term, I'll bring an agent in so that we can, recruit later on or something like that. You just bring them in. Like I'll teach anybody anybody who's willing to sit here, I'll teach them. I'll teach it. So go ahead and fill out the form. See, if you can figure out what maybe 1 or 2 of these classes that might help you achieve your goal, and go through those. Maybe add it to your 411. Maybe a book that'll help you learn. You just want some general marketing ideas. I feel like that's 6 steps to 7 figures. You want a clear blueprint on making money. MREA is probably your book for you. Motivational, your one thing. Huh? It's in Redlands. Yeah. It's in Redlands from 8 in the morning to 8:30 to 3:30. So that's bold. The first day is March 23rd, I think, and then there's a 2-week break, and then bold starts for real. It's 6 weeks. It's 6 classes every Wednesday.
Which one's the free one?
The first one.
Which is, you said it starts and then changes.
Oh yeah, so it's like you go over your mindset systems on the first day, and then you go into lead generation, you go into listing presentations, buyer presentations, and you do all the other stuff. So the first day, it's really just to give you a sense of what it's about, and what they're pretty much, it's going to be a big it's going to be 8-hour overview, and get you motivational, and try and pump you up to get you in there.
It's like $800.
Yeah, it's $800. It's not a cheap thing, but your knowledge and your education for your goals should also not be something you want to skimp on. So, I mean, I've been doing this 5 years. I feel like I've missed bowl every single year, and I feel like this is the final year I've decided I'm just going to do it. Because,
Are you doing the one this next month?
yep, yep. I already blocked it on my calendar. It's in my calendar. You can see it every single day, every Wednesday. I made sure that I had everything blocked. So when I go to do my planning for the month of April, I know that every Wednesday, and that means I have to drive here because I have my classes on Wednesday nights. So when I go to Redlands, I'm gonna have to wake up early. I gotta wake up early enough that I can drive down there. But sticking with my gym plan, I now have to wake up even earlier so I can go to the gym before I go down there. So that's gonna be real tough. It's gonna be something to, and then I'm gonna have to sit there all day long. And then I have to come back up, drive through traffic on a Wednesday afternoon. And then my class starts at 6:30 to teach the students for the real estate school. So I do that until 9 o'clock. So hopefully by the time I hit bed at 10 o'clock, I'm going to be super exhausted, and maybe it'll make me getting up the next morning that much easier, because it's going to be a trial for sure. April's going to be real tough, and I've only got those two things working on, Bold and my students. That doesn't include anything else in my real estate business, my personal life, or anything else. Whew, I'm already exhausted. I'm going to go take a nap. Jeez, I haven't even talking about it. I have to rethink some things. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Let's move on to step 5 of our 6 steps. So let me ask you a question. Raise your hand if you can draw. If you can draw. Raise your hand if you can draw. Yeah. Keep it up. Just if you can draw. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of you raise your hand. Okay, that's good. So if I pose that same question to a group of first graders, how many first graders do you think would raise their hand if I said, do you think? Every single one of them, you're right. And the thing is that you heard, who can draw well? You all put that limiting belief on yourself. You took words that I didn't say. I just asked if you could draw. I didn't ask what you could draw. I didn't say you could paint the Mona Lisa. I just asked if you could draw. Every one of you should have raised your hand. But only 4 of you did. Because you put that limiting belief on there that you heard, I can draw well. So that's what we're going to talk about right now, is removing limiting beliefs. We all have limiting beliefs. Every single one of us, for most of the things that we do. We've got to be able to face our limiting beliefs before we can turn them around to positive, unlimited beliefs, and those are going to fuel our success. So things like, I don't have enough time for training. Now, I got that a lot. As soon as I sent out the email saying, hey, training coming up on this day, I sent out the one for March 20th, yesterday, or 2 days ago. It was over 20 days in advance. I had 3 people immediately. I can't do it. Wow, really? Oh. Well, it went out. I feel like it went out on Facebook when I created the event. So, but almost instantly, I had people say, "Oh, sorry, I can't do it." I was just like, "Man, like, really? You didn't even put any thought into that. Like, unless you're going to be out of town, you're going to be gone, something like that. That's fine." But, or people say, "I can't be successful in this market." And there's 4,000 realtors in the high desert. That's like a third of the population. I think so there's so many realtors here, but there's enough business out there for everybody. Like everybody's gonna have to live somewhere, whether they're a renter moving into a house or they're a seller looking back to rent again. Everybody's got to move around. I can't devote 3 hours each day to lead generation. That's fine. Maybe you can't, but you can generate 25 minutes. You can successfully. Not successfully. You can. Oh my goodness, what's the word? Sorry, I got so tired from thinking about April. You can, what was it? Yeah, commit to something. Sure, yeah. You can commit to 20. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, David. That's exactly the word I was looking for. You can commit to 25 minutes a day. You don't have to commit to 30 hours. You just need to put it in the books. Give your 20% a chance to work. So high achievers remove beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. Remove the beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. And that's just so good. I really love that thing. Redirect negative thoughts into positive one, into unlimiting beliefs, and that will fuel your success. So if I put time in for training now, I will reap long-term benefits in my business. You know, that's what I try to tell everyone. It's like, well, just come for half an hour. If you can't make the whole 8 hours, just come for what you can, because one step is going to provide you enough to hopefully want to have you come back. You know, something like that. I feel like when I volunteered, you know, and I agreed to be the school trainer, that takes up 4 hours of my week in the evenings from 7 to 9. Thankfully, I don't really have anything on Mondays and Wednesdays. That normally, like my daughter's got cheer and pom and all these other things that she has to go to, but that's Mondays and Thursdays. And my wife typically has Mondays off, so I don't really have to worry about the Monday class. My son's got baseball practice every single day, but that usually ends by 5 or 6 and or by 4, and then sometimes he'll stay after school for other things like wrestling matches or baseball games or basketball games or something like that, and they usually end around 7. But I told my wife, I said, look, I'm going to commit to this, and I'm personally committing. They didn't say, Keller Williams, the school, they never told me, oh, you have to do it for X amount of time. But I was like, I'm going to do it for a minimum of a year. I feel like, because otherwise I'm not going to be even good enough at the end to say that, to be willing to, or able to say, oh, I did a good job. So I told her, I was like, this is going to take up my Mondays and Wednesdays for a year. And that can be hard when you have 3-day weekends coming up and spring break. I have to teach class over spring break. We wanted to go out of town for 4 days or whatever, and I realized, like, with everything else that's going on, I can't not teach my class, not going to give up that that commitment that I made to them just because I now want to go on spring break with my kids and do something else. So we figured out a different day, and we're trying to do something a little bit different. It's not what we wanted, but it's a sacrifice that my family is making for me to be able to accomplish my goals. And me being in the office here and trying to lead generate and do all of the business that I'm doing. Like, I was living a life of luxury when I didn't have to lead generate and I had no transactions going on. Not really, but I had all the time to spend with my family that I wanted to. I couldn't do anything with them because we were broke, but now I want to do all these transactions so I have the money, but now I don't have the time to do the things that I want. But we got the money to do it, but I can't leave the office that much. I have to be here so that I can do the things that I need to do. But yeah, so that was something that I had to work with, as far as oh well, my limiting belief was that I'm going to be able to do both of these things and it's going to be fine. But that was not true. Like, I had to make sacrifices in my personal life. So I can't afford to miss 3 hours of lead generation because it's my future. That's a good one. That time that you spend lead generating is your future. It's your future business, it's your future money, it's your future everything. So Jackie Ellis, Mega Agent and Market Center OP, when she went through a soul searching exercise to uncover her limiting beliefs. Let's watch that video real quick. Yeah, I gotta push the button. Hold on one second. This is what I was trying to get through earlier.
Hi, my name is Jackie Ellis, and I'm here to talk to you about removing your limiting beliefs. Shortly after joining Keller Williams, I began attending all of the fabulous events available to us, like Mega Camp and Family Reunion. And on the stage were amazing agents openly sharing their strategies for success. And I, very much like you, would be in the audience, writing down notes and taking those strategies back to my own marketplace, which I did implement. Well, a few years after attending Mega Camp, once again in the audience, I realized as I was looking up at these amazing agents that they had fabulous businesses and that I would never have that sort of a high volume, high impact business. So when I got back into town, I took a quiet moment to myself and I took out a piece of paper and wrote a line down the middle, and on the left side I wrote all of the things that I had going for me on my side that I could use to create one of these fabulous businesses. I had the training, and I could take the training through Keller Williams as many times as I wanted. There were models that if I just followed them, I could be a success like those on stage, and there were systems as well. After completing the left side of my page, I went over to the right side and I began to write what would be holding me back. And as I stared at the right side, I could not think of one thing to put on that piece of paper. I realized it was my limiting beliefs, my very own limiting beliefs that were holding me back. And once I removed them, there would be no holding me back. So fast forward to now, and those very agents that I saw on stage are now my friends, and I'm well on the track to one of those very businesses that I so admired. I want to know, do you have limiting beliefs? Do you recognize them? And what are you going to do to remove them?
Yeah, one of the things I like she said, it's not even really, everybody's got limiting beliefs, but it's like, can you recognize them? That's really the key, is saying, oh, the way that I'm thinking about this right now is holding me back from doing it. Like before, I was always like, I want to make enough money that I can do this, whatever. I'd be like, whatever that was, just saying, oh, I want to make $100,000 next year. That's a limiting belief. Why aren't I going to be a millionaire next year? Why am I not going to make a $2 million? Like, why am I even limiting myself to, I'm just going to make as much money as I possibly can, you know? Those are even something basic like that can be a limiting belief. So let's see. Can you think of a time in your life when you had a limiting belief that you needed to remove? Let's all think about that right now. If you did, how did you do it? What new successes came your way once you removed? Anybody got an example? Think of a limiting belief. What you got for me? Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Tom. Oh, there you go. That's a good one. Yeah. And look at you now.
Well, yeah, look at me. Yeah, I never, for years, I just didn't do it because I thought it wouldn't pass.
Sure. Yeah, that happens a lot. And how did you?
Studied my.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. And now you're here. I feel like you passed your real estate exam. Yeah, you're a licensed real estate agent now, and you signed on with Keller Williams, and you're attending the training. And how's that working out for you? Good. You got leads. You got transactions. You're working on things.
Leads, I don't have any transactions
Okay.
yet. It's only been 2 weeks.
It's only been 2 weeks. That's great. Yeah, that's fantastic. I feel like when I went through and got my real estate license, I immediately started talking to all my friends at work. That's all I wanted to do. I just told them all about it. That was my thing. I'm just going to tell everybody that I know, and it doesn't matter if I don't have my license yet or not. I'm just going to tell them that I'll work with them as soon as they're ready. I feel like I got my license in November. I closed my first deal in January 17th, because in December, as soon as I got my license, I immediately started working with somebody who I'd been talking to. He said, I want to buy a house. Let's start looking. As soon as I had my license, we were out. It took us 30 days to find the right house, and we were inside escrow, closed. It was fantastic, and that was, it took a month, So I feel like you're halfway there. You got 2 more weeks to get a transaction going so you can beat me.
Well, I have done a referral.
There you go. You've already done a referral, so you're already making money in real estate in 2 weeks. Fantastic. Anybody else got a limiting belief that they overcame? I feel like, didn't you have a similar, didn't take a little bit of while to get your license?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Years ago, I started going to school with you guys over there.
Yeah.
And then I took the test and I failed by like 4 questions.
4 questions. That's,
And then
that was discouraging, I'm sure.
I didn't go back until last summer.
There you go.
And I failed it again.
Oh, no.
I think 3 questions.
That's better.
And then I was like, I'm gonna just book the test. And I did it 2 weeks later. And then
Nice.
it was after the 2 weeks, so then I had to repay the thing. And then
Oh.
I lost it. And then I just.
Yeah. But you did it. You made it, and you're good. So good. And then you have,
The listing on Tuesday.
perfect. That's amazing. Anybody else have a limiting belief they've overcome? It doesn't necessarily have to be real estate. Maybe it's something past job. Maybe it was personal life. I had to overcome my limiting belief that I did not have it in me to get up in the morning to go to the gym. I told myself that for a month while I watched my wife every single morning get up and go to the gym. Every single morning, 5 days a week with her friend. And I was just like, I don't have time. I don't have time for all this. It's too busy. I can't get up early. I go to bed too late. Well, I feel like I still go to bed too late, but I definitely have made the time. And I realized that, I just set my alarm earlier, and I give myself 15 minutes to snooze so I don't have to wake up right at 6 o'clock on the dot. But, it's helping me to be, to do what I need to do. So, yeah, so it's good. I'm glad that we had those. So, pair up with a partner. Ask them for one limiting belief that they have that they think is holding them back. What do you think is holding you back? Tell your partner what you think is holding you back. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's be vulnerable for a minute. Then when you're done, move on to step 2. All right. Carmen's been watching on YouTube, and she suggested a book. It's Ryder Carroll's Bullet Journal is a good task or tool that you can use. It's called the Bullet Journal. It's a book that includes a bunch of systems that you can use for probably your organizational stuff based on the name. Bullet Journal. Yeah, by Ryder Carroll. That was a suggestion. Probably. Probably be a good guess. So did you guys go over what steps your partner could take to remove a limiting belief? Did you guys discuss that a little bit? No? That's okay. Maybe, hopefully, one of your ahas is that you have limiting beliefs, and maybe one of those things, one of your ahas would be how to remove that limiting belief. And again, a limiting belief can just be as simple as saying to yourself your goals in the day, something that's going to motivate you to, be better and do the things that you need to do. Any ahas? Anything come to mind from removing your limiting beliefs? Yeah? What you got?
Because mine is my anxiety from having to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Do real estate, but the whole goal is to become so busy in real estate.
You don't have to.
I can't. Now, the last year I've been working on it and all that, and it's just been a roller coaster. But
Mm-hmm.
when I go back to work, I'm going to be so busy that it's ain't fire me because it's too busy.
There you go. Good. Hey, and the silver lining is if they fire you, then you can collect unemployment, so you don't have to, you know, you get additional stream of income.
So he has surgery. Once he has the surgery, then we're fine.
Yeah, there you go.
Then I'll leave.
All right. So let's see. Step 6. This is be accountable. Yep, this is it. We are in the last stretch. I've got about 15 minutes left to do this. So you're going to continually asking yourself. No, sorry, that's later. So what we got here for be accountable is: are you a victim or are you accountable? Let's go through what a victim does. A victim does not seek reality. They don't ask questions. They fight reality. They're in denial. You say, that's just the way it is. That's how, what does that say? That's how I see it. That's your perception. You know, they see something differently than the reality. Blame. They project their blame on other people. You have personal excuses. They deflect. Nobody told me this, or it's not my job to do that, or I did my part. I do that. I have personal excuses for a lot of things. You know. Wait and hope. They have they're resigned to just wait and hope. A victim is someone who lives just with the status quo. It is what it is. That's a victim mentality. It is what it is. I'm not going to change it. I can't change it. I can't do anything about it. I have other things. If you're going to be accountable, a person who's accountable, they seek reality. So they're aware. They're asking, what is the situation? You know, you're going to gather facts in order to figure out what the situation is. You acknowledge reality. You have clarity. That's the way. What? This is the way it is. Oh, that's not. Oh, I see what the other one is. The denial is that's not the way it is denying it. Clarity is saying that is the way it is. I got it, or I'll see what's going on. Someone who owns it. Number 3, they own it. They own reality. Man, my copy is just, it's so blurry.
Find solution is number 4. Find.
Oh yeah, find solutions, yeah. So for number 4, they'll find solutions. You have the possibilities. Yeah, so what are my opinions? How can I get what I want? How can I get what I want, and what can I do? People who go out there and they get it. And then you get on with it. You have an action plan. It's like, okay, let's get started. That's it, let's go. Like, this is what we're going to do. That's what happens when life happens and reality shows up. Steve Maraboli, do you have that quote right there on your note page, on the next page? Yes. It says, your complaints, your drama, your victim mentality, your whining, your blaming, and all of your excuses have never gotten you even a single step closer to your goals or your dreams. Let go of your nonsense. Today is a new day. Like, this should be framed in almost every office across America. Like, this is something that, if anything, you walk away, like, fold this paper in half, put that in your pocket, pull it out every single morning, and read it to yourself. That's what I'm going to do. I love this quote so much. I don't even know who this dude is. The author of Unapologetic You. Apparently, I need to read that book, because that is fantastic. Your complaints, your drama, your victim mentality, your whining, your blaming, and all of your excuses have never gotten you a single step closer to your goals or dreams. I need to say that to my mirror every single morning. Whew, like that pumps me up just reading that out loud. Yeah, exactly. So, oh, here we go. Look at that. That would have been nice to have. Is that? Oh, yes, page 65. Yeah, that's exactly what I was supposed to do. So accountability is an attitude and an approach to your entire life. Accountability is first and foremost an attitude and approach to your entire life. An accountable person says, everything in my life is a result of my choices and my actions. I own my life. Accountability is also a tool for continually changing the results in your life and those areas that matter to you most. That's your 20%. Those are your big rocks. A person who's accountable in their 20% says, I own my life, and in certain areas, I want to continually improve my results. So I will be purposeful, and I will be learning-based to continue improving. Like, that pretty much just owned every single one of the 6 personal perspectives right there. You're 80-20, you're entrepreneurial, the purposeful, you're learning-based, everything. It covers everything. For accountability to continually change your life, you must acknowledge that it must be a dynamic cycle and not just stay a static concept. So we'll watch the the video here. I gotta push the button.
Hi, I'm Gina Ront, and I'm here to talk to you about accountability and what accountability means to me. You know, accountability in all reality is that it's the foundation of your day. And when I wake up in the morning, for me to go work out, if I don't have some kind of accountability, it doesn't happen. And so what do? I have a trainer. I pay him, therefore it forces me to show up and work out early in the morning. We have so much natural ability, and it's get us so far in life. But the reality is, without some structure and some accountability, that allows us to move past our natural tendencies. So for an example on accountability inside of our real estate team is our 411s, which is our accountability tool that Keller Williams has taught us to use with our team members. And so we find out what are their yearly goals, how can we break that into a monthly goal, and then how can we do that into 4 weeks, each week moving them towards that. And it's not just about business goals and financial goals, but it's personal goals. I find out what's important to them, they find out what's important to me, and together we grow the business. Accountability isn't always roses. Sometimes life steps in, and the cool thing about Keller Williams is we really focus on identifying that. We've got the tools to understand when you're heading off the road of accountability and blaming yourself, blaming others, because you're not going to get anywhere. And so that's where accountability steps in. And you can make the decision to step out of that, move forward, get back into the language that's going to move you forward, and use the tools that these perspectives give you. Having that and having a plan and focusing back on that is where accountability can totally make a difference, change your life, and quite frankly, change your family's life, your destiny, your legacy.
Don't feel good? Yeah. That's going back to work, right?
Oh, I got two. See, I don't focus on that one because that's still 2 weeks away.
Yeah, there you go.
I gotta work on one today. The one I'm dealing with today, I do.
You have aspects of control for sure. Yeah. That's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The positive mentality. Yeah. All right. Now it's time to accept your problems. So, utilizing this be accountable sheet down here, you have use the be accountable steps to work through and write down the necessary approach and actions to take to resolve this problem. you complained about it. You talked about it a little bit. Try and figure out now what the steps are that would allow you to overcome this problem, to be accountable to the problem that you're having, and instead of being a victim to that problem, let's try and solve that problem. Use the steps. Seek the reality, acknowledge the reality, you own it and be empowered, find solutions, and get on with it. Yeah. I mean, it might be a problem. It might be a problem solver. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So any steps that you talked about, make sure you're gonna put these steps on the 411. Anything that you've come up with and you've identified as a step to overcome your problem, you're gonna want to identify in your 411. Being held accountable is a crucial aspect of success in both business and in life. And Keller Williams, we are deeply committed to making sure that you have an accountability on all levels if you want it, whether you're a new agent or you're the vice chairman of the board. Mo Anderson, who used to be the CEO, now Gary Keller's back in being the CEO, but Mo Anderson, she's probably vice president or something now. I'm not really sure what her actual job title is now. But she has someone holding her accountable at all levels in her life. So you can see over here, Mo Anderson for her financial, accountability. She's got Phil DeMuth and Paul Woosley. For her spiritual, she's got Dr. Joel Baker and Dr. Ravi Zacharias. And then physical, Nina Rowan Heller. Or maybe that's two different names, I don't know. But for her business, she's got Gary Keller and Ed Livermore. Like, she has multiple accountability partners for each level. It's not even just one person that's holding her accountable. She's got two for each one. So you think that she's probably a high achiever, right? Because that's absolutely right. So do you have anybody here? You have anybody here? Do you have anybody outside of the business? Do you have somebody who's who's an accountability partner for you? There's this on page 93 right here. It says you, and you've got all these different things. So you've got, if you can put someone down for each one of these boxes that you feel that you have an accountability partner, put them in there. And if you don't have anybody, that's fine. I mean, you probably never thought about it before. So if you don't have anybody that can hold you accountable for one of these things, write a date down that you want to add someone in that circle by. You go out and try and find an accountability partner for these aspects. I mean, it can be as much my wife is my accountability partner for a lot of my business stuff, and lately now my physical stuff, because she asked me how the gym was, and you're going to go to the gym in the morning, and it makes me feel guilty for not going if I don't go. No, she doesn't make me feel guilty, but a spiritual advisor, a financial advisor, anybody that you can think of that helps you with these things that can hold you accountable. Even you go to your pastor and say, I'd like you to hold me accountable. Maybe he's not, maybe they're not, but you want them to be. You can ask them, will you hold me accountable for these? I want to do X amount of, I want to do X, Y, Z. I want to read, and I want to study and do all the things that I need to do. If you have that person, then most likely they're going to be like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll follow up with you once a week or once a month or whenever you want to be done, and make sure that you're doing the things that you should be doing. So fill those in as you get them. Without a model to follow, accountability sessions can easily slip into just chat sessions where no one's being held accountable and time is being wasted. So the best way to be held accountable is through a KW Maps coach. You're paying them. When you pay someone to hold you accountable, they're not going to waste your time and just hang out as if you just asked your best friend to be your job advisor. That's going to end up, that could go sideways real quick if they don't have a personal stake in it. If you're not paying someone, but at this level of your business, you may not be ready to pay someone yet, but just keep in mind that someone who you're paying to do that kind of thing is definitely going to be a much more productive coach than someone who is not being paid. If you do enter into any less formal accountability relationship, introduce the accountability model to be a better accountability partner, and you'll also get better at having someone else hold you accountable. And that's on this page right here. This is the accountability session. So what was your goal? How did you do? How do you feel about that? Based on what you did, what your goal is, and what do you need to know, or what do you need to do now? And is there anything that might keep you from doing that? Or if you needed training or support, what might it be? You can use this for almost anybody and just say, here, I just want you to ask me these questions every week. I'm going to give you my goal ahead of time so that you know what to expect. And if I don't meet that goal, then we're going to talk through the steps that I need to do. I feel like almost anybody can be this for you. It doesn't even have to be someone in the business. But, I mean, having someone in the business could help as well. We have mentorships. Almost anybody on the ALC member can help you out with that. Not even in a mentorship capacity, you know what I mean? They're typically available to you to be able to just help hold you accountable. And then we have the Career Growth Initiative. So you're after gross commission income. So the more the better. The Career Growth Initiative leads. I'm not really sure how this actually fits in here, other than the fact that I feel like this helps you to leads to profitability in your business. The 4 CGI conversations with your market. So there's a tool called, man, I can never remember which one's which. CGI, the CGI tool on KW Connect allows you to track, which actually I think now is Command Reports. In Command, it's reports. Basically, you would say, oh, I want to make X amount of dollars. And then that works backwards to how much volume you'd have to produce in order to do that and how many transactions that you would have to do. So it gives you your goals by just putting in a number or whatever. So talk with leadership. If you've got goals and you want to be serious about your goal setting or whatever, talk to leadership about setting your CGI goals. That's your Career Growth Initiative. It really will be able to help you track how many listings you should be doing, how many buyers you should be doing, all that good stuff. And then that person, whoever you talk to, can help hold you accountable for those numbers. You should know this should be your yearly goal on your 411. So then you would break this number down into how many options you'd have for a month. And then you'd have, your for each week, what tasks and plans, what your success list would be for that week. That's pretty much. So based on what you've learned about the 6 personal perspectives, do you recognize the habits, skills, and behavioral traits of a high achiever in yourself? I hope everybody can see that it's possible by following simple steps. You have the ability to do this. Removing your limiting beliefs, be accountable, focus on your big rocks, your 20%, be learning based, educate yourself at every opportunity you have. Maybe you've been able to identify which ones you've mastered and which ones you need to work on. Like this, I know for me, has opened my eyes. I got a lot more to do. I thought I was almost there, but I am not almost there. So that's what we've got here. You don't have to worry about any evaluation. It's on the back there, but I don't feel like I'm qualified to be evaluated. But I appreciate every single one of you for coming here. I really, 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 really appreciate it. I hope I see you all for Win with Sellers on March 20th. Hopefully you'll be going down to Bold on March 23rd. It would be fantastic to see everybody there. Thanks. I appreciate you guys.